Welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. I just went live while Melissa's trying to think of something. Don't worry, Melissa. I had you muted. You're all good to go. We're Adventures in Lollygagging. We are playing Mothership tonight. Not only are we playing, we are concluding Mothership tonight. This is the finale. We got off the station, and Australis, you're 100% right. This is going to be the longest spacewalk you can possibly imagine. It's just gonna go. Karian, it might be Mosh Bits. Mosh. I can't remember. Could be Mosh. I don't know. I can't remember. But normally it's 100. We boost, and 300. There it is. Mosh Bits. Okay. So, but yeah, this is gonna be the final gradient descent. As we're off the ship. We got the Minotaur. Or we're off the station. We got the Minotaur. Makes sense.
Minotaur. That's the word I was trying to think of. Jeez. Because it was like M in my head, and then I kept thinking Mastodon, and I couldn't get past Mastodon that to get to Minotaur.
Oh, John, thank you so much for those bits. Captain Karian just toss us out some advantages for the players, which will come in handy. Okay, so why don't we for the last time do a little introduction of your character? Tell us something we don't know. I'm also going to be probing your minds a little bit as we get into play. But if there's something that you haven't mentioned about your character up until this point, share it with us now. So, Melissa, tell us about Liko Win. And yeah, that's it.
So Liko is the first of two Teamsters that are in the group as it is currently constructed. She's very tall. I believe we talked about that early on. She's like 5'10" or so. She's strong. She's not so good in combat. She has a patch that says improve, adapt, overcome. She's got a fleece-lined hooded parka. She's done like mountain climbing things before. And that's Liko.
Okay. Very good. Very good. Yeah, we have all the patches stuff. I think I remember hearing that about yours. But okay. All right. Did everyone roll for patches? You all have your patches and stuff? I'm kind of curious. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway. Speaking of we've got Long, freshly awoken from slumber.
Yeah, like I just woke from years in the crowd chamber. I'm trying to remember how to use like motor and thinking.
Well, put it together and tell us about Helix.
I'm playing Helix. I'm an android. I've got high intellect, pretty low strength, speed, and combat, even lower with severed foot. He's skilled in hacking, linguistics, computers, math. He's pretty excited to see his penguin peepee on the ship. Hopefully he's still there. And then something we don't know. He fears becoming obsolete, so pretty much being unable to help anymore.
Okay. Yeah, we sometimes forgot about that foot, but floor 3 was 0G, so you didn't really need the foot as much, so it didn't really come into play. But yeah, you've been running around with your one foot tied to your other foot, and didn't you use it as a grappling hook or something?
Yeah, it was a grappling foot at one point.
Yeah, that's great. Yes, PP. Wait, was PP an android penguin or a real penguin?
He was a real one.
Oh, he's dead.
Penguin.
He's dead. You guys have been gone for years. Yeah, so months.
He's pretty sufficient. So
is he?
PP's a survivor.
There's plenty of penguin food stocked up on the ship when you guys left. Okay. Next up, we have Dr. Leo Minton. Derek, tell us about Leo.
Yes, he is the group's doctor, and he's patched up folks quite a bit. And in the process, he's lost quite a bit of hair. He used to really love collecting socks, but that final joy in his life has been taken from him based on all the things that have happened in this journey. His patented Sesame Street scrubs or clothing, medical clothing, is singed, full of holes, covered in blood. So he's ready to get out of here. He almost lost all of his oxygen last time we played, so he's just holding on to those molecules, savoring them like a fine wine.
Yes, it was kind of, there was some miscommunication that was happening. And by miscommunication, I mean that Steven was trying to kill everybody. Because I think it was both you and Ashley. Look at Ashley's face. Ashley's so mad right now.
No, I can't control my resting bitch.
Oh, okay. I thought you were just like, you're mad at Steven face.
No, I was just watching the stream.
Yeah, okay. So like you had patches that you needed fixing in your suit. I think Lorraine did as well. And then Harrison opens up the door, explosive decompression. You guys are okay.
There were a lot of androids coming. Okay.
There were some complications that were being purchased at that point in the game, as I was definitely taking advantage of a lot of the stuff. I think it was Farco gave me some stuff at the beginning, Farco Dev. So that was fun. Okay, next up, you've heard him already. We got Harrison Richards. Steven, tell us about Harrison and tell us, I mean, what don't we know about Harrison, you know?
Harrison Lewis Richards is a former troubleshooter, current troublemaker. He only had a little bit longer to make it to retirement, so there's a chance he might actually get his pension. Something you don't know about him is that there have been multiple bodies he's hidden in maintenance shafts.
Like since we've met him, like before we met him.
Well, that's something you don't know about him.
Okay, a little bit of something you do know, a little bit of something you don't know. Got it.
Sorry, I was writing down former troubleshooter, current troublemaker. That's a good line. It's a good line. I like it.
Thank you. Just thought of it.
Yeah. That's the early front runner for the thumbnail. We'll see what happens. A lot of opportunity here. A lot of opportunity. Oh my gosh! Thank you so much for the hype train. Everyone doing awesome things. I really do appreciate that. I've collected more emotes. What do I got? I don't know what I have. Looking at all my hype train emotes. I have a cockroach. That's weird. All right, and then finally, we've got Lorraine Snow. Ashley, tell us about Lorraine.
Lorraine is one of our newest additions to the team. She believes in the Minotaur. She's one of its most devout followers. She believes in that the Minotaur is going to save humanity, and removing her from the deep has been a lifelong goal of hers that is nearly at fruition. So she's going to ride out her days and hang out with the Minotaur.
Yeah. It's strange that you think that Lorraine is one of the newest members. I think she's been here the whole time. I feel like this entire campaign has just turned into me gaslighting everybody. That's basically what it is. I'm just here to just make it so that both your characters and the players don't believe everything that happened, even though we have a video and audio record of everything that happened.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep.
Who's gonna check that?
Not me. All right, so let's dive in for the final time into Mothership Gradient Descent. So last time around, you all had been lured, trapped, by Monarch, the controlling AI of the deep. This cloud-based synthetic station that you've been crawling around in for who knows how long, honestly, and looking for artifacts and answers, and honestly, just a way out for a certain period of time. And you were in a place aptly named the Combat Spire. Where you fought a bunch of awakening security androids that kept getting kind of popped out from these different rows of these sort of dormant area. Lorraine, you took a few shots as you guys were flying left and right, zero G here and there. And you did find a way out eventually. You kind of hacked through this one door, and you made it out just in time, and you kind of barred the way. You found yourselves in this armory. And not just one, but two of them. One of them seemed to be stocked with weapons suitable for fighting androids, synthetics, so EMPs and things like that. The other one seemed to have weapons suitable for fighting fleshies, biologicals, humans, you might say. You guys stocked up for a bit. You also saw a big old spider tank, but nothing became of that, really. And you did find a hidden passage, hidden behind this kind of fiberglass panel, that led down this long passageway into a massive hangar bay. And inside this hangar bay were dozens of single-seat spaceships each holding a dormant android that looked very much human, and it seemed to be awaiting launch through these very enormous tubes. Some of these dormant androids, as you started to explore, looked identical to people you all know and met and apparently served on the Doppler effect with, as you saw both Abby and Reed. I think Harrison might have saw Twiggy at one point, and there were other faces that were familiar as well, faces that you might see in some other divers and things. And you didn't necessarily painstakingly go through every single, but you kind of got the drift that there were a lot of folks here that looked very much like the people you knew, and they behaved oddly, as they had this weird kind of modem sound come out of their mouth at one point. Now, as you all were sort of looking around, it sort of became clear that Monarch was not particularly happy with you all being here in this bay. Started throwing off all sorts of different alarms and such, and started sending waves and waves of security androids, these boosted security androids in your direction. Harrison decided he was going to blow up the passageways between the hangar and the other parts of the station that the hangar connected to, which helped, but also caused this momentary explosive decompression inside the bay. Nearly killed Lorraine, nearly killed Menton, I think. That actually really almost killed Lorraine at one point. Eventually kind of got under control. Harrison was outside, and he started kind of crawling along the exterior of the deep of the station. He saw a ship out there in the distance. Inside the bay, you all spoke with the Minotaur, convinced the Minotaur to help. Minotaur created this sort of bulbous capsule within which I think Lorraine and Dr. Menton could hide because their suits were damaged. And so it was this airtight canister. You all opened up these big old hangar bay doors, and there you saw your ship. Those of you, Liko, Helix, Lorraine, Liko, Helix, and Leo saw your ship, the Doppler effect, just out there, not that far off, just kind of floating there in space. And all of you, including Harrison, leapt, and you're going for it. So we're going to pick up, as everyone currently is floating in space. If everyone could please do one more bends check for me here, that hidden bends check, that'd be great.
Because I have to do this, because it's just who I am as a person. So this all-powerful AI didn't foresee us finding his hidden chamber. Guess he isn't all-powerful.
I guess not. What an idiot, that guy. He's such an idiot. Okay.
Troll to the end, Dr. Menton is.
Okay, so let me see what we got here. Oh, goodness. Oh, the rolls tonight, guys. These are some good rolls tonight.
Oh, that doesn't bode well.
No, that doesn't sound good at all.
Us.
Good. Yeah, good for whom? That is kind of the question.
Oh, boy.
I don't know about you guys, but I got 3 question marks. I'm feeling good.
Right. These secret roles. These secret anxiety.
I am currently
roles.
outside the deep, so I don't think I should have to worry about the beds anymore.
Are you? Are you outside the deep?
I'm in the vacuum of space.
Are you?
Are you?
Yes.
You sure?
Yes.
Take your helmet off.
Why would I do that? I'm in the vacuum of space.
You want to make sure you're in the vacuum of space? Maybe you're not. Maybe you're...
Oh, I'm pretty sure.
You could poke your finger and let the air stream out of there.
Could just be a large TV production studio. Who knows? Okay.
Truman Show.
We're still in Silas's chamber.
I can't believe this one result just came up. That's hilarious.
Oh no. This isn't good. This doesn't bode well for us. It's not hilarious for us.
Lorraine's not going to know what to do, and she gets aboard the Doppler, and there's rocks everywhere.
Talk amongst yourselves for a minute. I have to write a very long... This one's a long entry, so give me a second. Talk amongst yourselves.
Oh, God.
Okay, go ahead. Talk.
Yeah, Metahorse, it is very unlikely that it's going to be all just a dream ending. It's not a...
I think Jeff would sooner chop his left hand off than write that kind of ending.
I despise movies where you sit through 2 hours and it doesn't matter. Like The Devil's Advocate with Pacino and Keanu Reeves. I hated that just because of the ending.
Spoiler alerts for those who haven't seen.
Yeah, for those who haven't seen the 25-year-old movie Devil's Advocate, it's a waste of time.
It's a spoiler in the sense that we're helping you out.
Yes. Can go out for a nice dinner instead. We're going to wake up and PP is going to be the one, he's going to be the mastermind behind the screen. We're going to be like tied up to some sort of like VR headset that makes you relive whatever he deems entertaining at the time.
Oh man, I'm waiting to see who fucked up. Who rolled bad?
Well, I mean, you and I are in the bubble of fortitude, otherwise known as the Minotaur, so we're okay, I think.
I don't know. Lorraine believes. But do you believe?
No, I've pulled all my hair out. My stress is at 20, which is funny because my sanity is at 52.
Okay.
I imagine that Harrison's going to just be pushing off through space and get super close to the Doppler, but just barely miss. And he'll just look at the cockpit, and then PP will be there and just with his flipper give a little salute and
wrap
fly
the
off.
other flipper around the cigar. Okay. All right. So here's what we're going to do. At this point, we ended with literally all of you launching yourselves off into space. Okay. Those of you that are within Minotaur, you're okay. There's nothing you necessarily have to roll. The rest of you, you're all, you're doing it. So what I would like you all to do, if you could please, we're going to do this one at a time. We're going to start with Harrison. Harrison, you launched off of this. You shot a gun, by the way. Pretty sure you missed, and then you launched off. And as you started launching off, something started kind of going wrong. You started hearing weird kind of static start popping up within your comms. You're not sure if it was someone's trying to communicate with you, if you're not sure if you got damage in the explosive decompression or what it is, but you just hear this constant fit of static that's kind of assaulting your eyes or your ears, as you're floating through. But you see the Doppler effect. You're moving slowly but surely in its direction. It's a very large target. You're fairly confident you're going to get there. However, you kind of get a little sort of dizzy moment, like you're going to get a little bit of distraction, we'll say, as like you're constantly bombarded with this static. A memory is going to pop into your head here, but you're going to get to narrate what it is. What is Harrison's first memory? Very first memory.
All right. Harrison's first memory. His father was a mechanic at some sort of spaceport and would take Harrison to work with him. And there was a tragic accident where some sort of landing gear malfunctioned and his father got caught in it. And that is Harrison's first memory, is watching that happen.
Did Harrison's father survive?
No.
Harrison, you're traveling across again. You got a slight head start on everybody, not very far, but a slight one. And for some reason, as the static is like assaulting your ears as you're floating through space, you're getting closer. You're getting closer. And you realize you're off. Like you didn't quite launch yourself at an appropriate angle. You're not to the point where like it's so terrible, but you can see yourself kind of relative to the way the ship is oriented. You're kind of vectoring a little bit downward. Like you're kind of going to go under. And as you start kind of shifting down to the bottom of the ship, you look out and you can see like there's all sorts of different antennae and blockages coming out. Like it's not the prettiest and sleekest ship in the world. And you can see that there is this compartment, these stints that kind of extend outward from the Doppler effect, and then they retreat back up. And it's only used for in-atmo landing. Like if you're doing docking and stuff like that, they don't worry about these landing struts. They're usually not out during spaceflight. But you can see that there's something not quite right about these struts. Like they're half out, half in, like they've been trying to get retracted up, or at some point along the way, they appear like they have become stuck. And you have, at this point, drifted too far underneath the ship, but you can see these struts are out there. And with your knowledge of ships, with your experience, ever since a young boy, you know that there's possibly a way to kind of maneuver your way onto the ship from and through those struts themselves. What would you like to do, Harrison?
I don't know how physics work, but
Neither do
I
I.
imagine shooting a gun down would make me go up.
Okay. So I think it depends on the gun, but I presume you have like some sort of propulsion gun. So if it's just a laser gun, it's probably not going to do anything. But if you have
I have a revolver and a combat shotgun. We'll start with the revolver because we don't want to go too fast.
Okay. I think the shotgun would probably be fine. I don't know. We'll say it'll be fine. Okay, so you kind of contort, rotate in such a way, and you want to fire. You don't got to roll this. It's fine. As you might say on Tuesdays, narrative success. And you feel yourself slightly shift, and you manage to back into the underbelly of the Doppler effect. And you just feel as it hits once more. As you make contact, the static goes off in your ears again, just overwhelming you. And you kind of, as you aren't going extraordinarily fast, but you're going fast enough that you start to stumble and kind of and sort of roll over top and underneath the various machinery, and that static keeps kind of popping up. But eventually, you kind of reach up, you grab whatever you can, and you see that you are effectively within about 15, 20 feet of where these various the landing gear is, and underneath you can see that you could probably get up into the belly of the ship, and from that maybe find a vent onto the ship. Or you can just try to climb, get back up, look for an airlock on the sides of the ship. It's not your ship. You're not entirely sure where to find them. So what would Harrison start trying to do?
I would worry a bit about the landing gear going up while I'm in there due to past trauma.
Okay.
I think I would go past and try to find an airlock.
Okay. So you catch yourself, slow down, you wait a moment, and then you just start kind of climbing and you're searching. Okay. We'll cut over then to shortly behind you all. You've got Liko and Helix, I believe, who they launched themselves like normal. And then it was Leo and Lorraine, who I think were inside the Minotaur. Leo, Lorraine, it is dark in here unless you have a flashlight. It's very, very tight. There's not a ton of space. You are right on top of one another. You also don't know each other all that well. Both of you are kind of staring face to face at each other, and you think you have no idea what's going on outside. Do you have helmets on right now?
I think mine got destroyed from all the combat.
Okay. Lorraine, do you have one on?
Yeah, she still has her helmet on.
Lorraine, you hear the static begin to kick up into your helm overwhelmingly, to the point where like your eyes like wince as you feel the ear pain from the sound of it. It's not that kind of modem sound that you were hearing before, but it's the same types of sounds that you periodically hear over the comms, the intercoms within the deep, usually before an announcement is made, or sometimes just the corporate music chime comes in, something like that. But it starts popping on, and it just won't go off. And like you're looking over at Leo. Leo, you can see her wince every now and then, but you're not really sure exactly what's happening. There's a very small amount of air within this pod. So Lorraine, you are connected to air on your own suit. So Leo, you have a very small amount within this capsule. I would like both of you, if you could, please tell me your earliest memory. So we'll start with Dr. Leo. What's Dr. Minton's earliest memory?
His earliest memory is making cupcakes with his sister. It was just like something they decided to do one weekend to like treat themselves and treat the family. He, being younger and less experienced, made more of a mess than anything else, and was eating batter before it was ready. But yeah, just talking about kid stuff and just, making a mess of the kitchen while the parents are doing whatever.
You look around inside here, and you're on the interior of the Minotaur, and you can see an occasional eye opens up, like within the various texture. There's a little bit of light from some of your gear, but as you start looking, you can see the light inside is kind of reflecting off the skin of the Minotaur in these strange ways. You're seeing this like almost like colorful sparkles and sprinkles kind of all over the place on the inside. You kind of get this image in your head of you and your sister and these cupcakes and such. Meanwhile, you look over at Lorraine, and she's still kind of wincing. She's got this kind of old woman pained face on. And Lorraine, as you're trying to deal with that, memory comes through your mind as well. What is Lorraine's earliest memory?
Lorraine's earliest memory is her mom forcing her to wear this hideous floral purple dress to go to church. And it's just flashes after that of her mother either slapping her knee because she's fidgeting too much, or something to that extent. But she vividly remembers that ugly purple dress.
Okay. At a certain point, as the two of you are hurtling, Lorraine, you're trying to focus, trying to ignore this. Maybe you're looking to turn your comms off, but there's not enough room to kind of move around, as it's basically like the two of you are stuffed in a car trunk together. Eventually, you feel like momentum suddenly thrust you guys forward, and you kind of very gently bump against one side of the Minotaur, and you think this means they've reached wherever it is they've wanted to go. Helix, you're floating through space with a foot not attached. Do you have a suit on?
Yeah.
Okay. Similarly, as you're floating across, that static pops up again. And immediately what it does is you hear the static. It lasts, it's like this quick surge that lasts about 5 seconds, and then it goes away. And then you get these 3 sudden beeps, same type of quick beeps of static. Then you suddenly get this sort of strange kind of sequencing starting to happen. You can feel like certain processes start to activate without you accessing them. Like somebody almost maybe remotely is trying to access your long-term memories. And you can see a few of them start they start rapid fire popping up. Like you can feel like someone's going through file, opening up a file, then quickly closing it, opening it up, quickly closing it, opening it up, quickly closing it. And one of them opens up and it stays on. And it's the first time you opened your eyes as an android. What did you see the first time Helix opened up his eyes?
I woke up in an empty dorm. It had a giant glass ceiling. Could see out into space. The dorm was pretty standard, just a single bed, a computer, a table. It's like someone was living there by himself. That later I learned it was just my creator's household where he lived.
This time, as you're watching, as you're going back through this memory, as somebody has opened it up and left it on, and you're looking up through that glass dome in the ceiling out into space, you see something appear outside the glass dome and just cross in front of it and over top of it. This slow moving vessel that maybe you've recognized before, maybe you didn't, but now very clearly is the Doppler effect. Like you can see, there it is. It's right there. It's that same kind of look that you've seen before. You recognize it clear as day. Places where you all have done some work on it to repair, other places where you've done some upgrades. It's kind of these really sort of crappy weapons that you kind of attach to it at one point, like a Gatling gun or something. And then other places that looks like you've had a repanel, things like that, like things that very clearly you recognize. And then just as quickly as it appears, it drifts and disappears on the other side of that of that dome. And as you kind of right your optical lenses, you look up, and there it is again, like right out in front of you. But not only that, it's much bigger now as you are hurtling towards it with great speed, and without great preparation, you just kind of slam directly into it. Now, there are probably multiple ways onto the ship. You have cargo bays. You've got the umbilical docking area that you can get whenever you kind of dock the ship to a station. And there's probably more than one emergency hatch that you can get through. Then, as we've already mentioned before, there's ways that you can kind of matriculate in through the landing bay area. Where would Helix be heading?
There's some sort of emergency hatch he can get access to. Probably the easiest for him.
Okay. Roll I'll say you could take advantage on this. Roll it'd be an intellect check, but if you have something like computers or heavy machinery or something like that, you can roll that.
I do have computers.
Okay.
So I'll add 10 on top.
Yeah.
Intellect.
You can take advantage on this. We have plenty.
Right. Need a 53. First one was a 65. Second roll was a 64. So
Okay.
not much better.
So you're looking around, and you're looking around, and you're looking around, and you're trying to recall and access the specs that you might have of the ship. And you're pretty sure that you know where you're going. But when you get there to kind of open up what you think is an emergency hatch, you kind of rip the hatch off, and a panel just floats off into space. And you see underneath that emergency hatch, that panel where it says emergency hatch on it, there is yet another panel underneath that says emergency hatch. And you rip that panel, and it goes flying off into space. And you look underneath it again, and it says emergency hatch on it. And you rip it, and it goes flying off into space. And you look underneath it, and it says emergency hatch. And you rip that off. And you do this like 5 times. And you've kind of dug into the ship like a good couple of layers. And each time, it's just this new dummy hatch until finally there's just this empty receptacle with nowhere to go. Roll a sanity test.
Some Wile E. Coyote stuff.
Sanity is 17.
You guys think you're off the station. That was cute. Remember when I said you guys were going through that really giant room that was big enough for an asteroid?
Yeah.
I'm off the station. I don't care what you say.
Are you trying to say that I've eaten so much yesterday I'm the size of an asteroid?
Could
I'm
be.
confused.
Could be. Helix, how'd you do?
Yeah, I failed with the 26.
Okay. So you're not so much panicking, but I would say go ahead and kick your stress up one to 18. Looks like I think you're at 17. Go up one to 18. As this sudden surge, like this sudden subroutine that you don't access too often, doubt starts to creep into your mind a bit about, is this the right ship? If it's the right ship, am I the one who's mistaken? What kind of design flaw with this? Why would you have 5 emergency hatches, one on top of the other, none of which actually accesses anything? And you just fall into this this subroutine, this loops over and over and over again, where you're just kind of questioning your calculations, you're examining the ship's diagnostics, the various like the blueprints and things, the engineering schematics you have. All of it's like none of it's making sense anymore, and it's that sudden departure from being able to make those calculations that you're so comfortable making that's kind of causing you some trouble here. Meanwhile, you look over and you see coming shortly thereafter is Liko. Liko, you got a helmet on, so you too hear the sounds of static come through and start blasting you on the way across. And once more, just like others, you have this image that suddenly pops into your head. You actually hear ever so slightly within that static a voice, a very familiar voice. And it's a voice of a memory that you had. It's like your first memory, one of your first memories. What was one of the first memories, and what was the voice? What do you hear hidden underneath that static?
So first memory for Liko was kind of being out camping, mountain climbing with her mom. And so it's like snowy and they're bundled up, and Liko is kind of playing just outside the camp area. And her mom's telling her to like shush and be quiet and stop. and like her voice just turns like more stern than Liko had ever heard her. Like she'd never really gotten like yelled at before, and it's just super stern voice. And her mom just comes up and like puts her hand over Liko's mouth, and you would just see off there were these, you know, to her being little, just these enormous bears that were not too far away on the mountain. And it was like a family of bears, and so they're kind of doing their thing. And so like she's kind of picked up by her mom, and her mom's got her hand firmly over her mouth, and they're sort of watching this like family of bears go by.
Okay. You two eventually come smashing into the ship. You can see not too far from you the capsule that is the Minotaur carrying Leo and Lorraine has also made contact with the ship, and you can see Helix is probably about 15 feet or so from you along the hull. He seems to be like kind of rapidly pulling at something on the hull itself. You can't quite make out what it is. There's not enough light. Where would Liko be going?
Liko is going to kind of try to go into like an emergency hatch.
Okay, same deal. Go ahead and roll an intellect test if you have anything that's like helps with machinery or computers or engineering, stuff like that.
Industrial equipment.
That's fine. I'll take it. And then you can have an advantage.
All right, so 54 is my target, rolling an advantage. First one is 84. Second one is 67.
How'd you do? So is that a fail? Okay.
Yep.
Same thing kind of happens to you. You look over where Helix is, and you do some basic calculations in your head, and you think that's where the emergency hatch is, which makes sense. Helix is over there. And so you kind of start pulling yourself along the hull of the ship until you're right over top of Helix. And Helix, at this point, we'll say you're on your third of the emergency hatches that you've ripped off, and the fourth and the fifth. And Liko, you see this happen. It's just like he's pulling these panels off the ship, and they're just revealing other panels beneath. It's like some sort of joke. Go ahead and roll a sanity test.
Sure. Looking for a 31. Roll a 97.
So yeah, go ahead and kick your stress up by a point as now you're beginning to wonder to some degree, like, are you in the right place? Are you on the right side? Like your confidence in your engineering and your memory of this ship has taken a bit of a hit. Okay. Now, meanwhile, Helix, Liko, you're both here. You're both see now there's just this kind of empty socket that leads to nowhere. What's your next course of play? And don't forget that you're on comms, like you can communicate with comms. The static, once you all kind of slammed into the ship, static on your comms seems to have died out. What would the two of you do? Lorraine, Leo, you're kind of still at the mercy of the Minotaur until...
Yeah.
There's nothing here to enter. Emergency hatch. It's just a hatch.
It should be working. It's right there. You open it and you're in. This shouldn't be.
We just got to move over to either of the bays or something like that.
Oh, okay. All right. God, it's not the same thing over there, but yeah, that works.
Okay.
Relocate to the nearest bay.
Okay. So the two of you start kind of moving along to the rear of the ship, looking for bay access. And we'll say that the Minotaur very easily is going to start kind of following, changing their shape, using their Gumby-like arms to start pulling like a snail shell behind them. Harrison, meanwhile, you've come up from underneath. As you look off, you can see in the distance, we'll say you're towards the front end of the ship, they're towards the back. You can see movement vaguely, some lights and stuff on their equipment here and there. Looks like the Minotaur as well. So you can see that they're ways away, but they have made it to the ship as well. Harrison, what would you like to try to do?
I would like to just start searching for the nearest access point. And I'll work my way towards the back if I don't find anything here in the front.
Okay.
to group up with them.
Same role. Same role I've been asking, asked before. Anything that you think, intellect test is totally fine. Anything that you think might contribute to your understanding of how ship design works, you can add that if you have a skill that fits it.
Hacking?
You know what? It's the final session.
Artificial military training?
I'll give you military training, actually, because you've
Okay.
probably been tasked with trying to find boarding parties and stuff like that. Yeah.
I have 4 skills. One of these. Let me just run through all of them. One of them's got to work.
I needed a 58, and with advantage, I rolled a 54 and a 50.
Okay. You do, in fact, find what looks to be some kind of umbilical connection. You think this is likely something that might be connected when this is at a spaceport or something like that, and you find it right there, starboard side towards the front of the ship. It's a big old kind of circular entrance. Normally, it's connected through an umbilical itself, but there are emergency controls on the outside. It's also airlocked, you would imagine, so that whatever you open up here doesn't just open onto the ship. There's probably a secondary door in the interior. You've got hacking, right? You're an expert in hacking.
Correct.
So you would be able, if you would like, if you're looking to just kind of trying to find your way in, like force your way in. Is that what you're trying to do?
Yeah, I want to get in.
Okay. You hack your way in. Doesn't take very long. It's not too difficult. Doesn't look like there's much security on this thing. But eventually, airlock door opens up. You see a dark, very, very dark kind of airlock area. Pull yourself in. Close the exterior door. As you close the exterior door, little lights start to pop up all around you. And you're in this room with these kind of curved walls on your right and on your left. And you see right in front of you as you've come in is that interior airlock door. Carrying over your hacking expertise, you're able to access through the interior control panel. Door opens up again. You tried hacking against Monarch. This stuff is easy. Like, this isn't hard at all. It just takes a couple seconds. Door opens up. Take 2 steps in. All of a sudden, what was apparently a very, very dark corridor suddenly starts to light up, almost as if it's like coming online. The lights are coming online now that you're walking through, like they're almost like motion sensing. And you see in front of you a ship in very good health. You don't see any major damage anywhere. It doesn't look necessarily pristine, but relative to what you've seen recently on the Bell, you don't see any scrapes. You don't see any oil stains, blood stains, graffiti. You just see a pretty standard spaceship passageway leading off into the darkness. You see a couple different turnoffs here and there. You see a couple universal signage on the wall that kind of gives you a basic indication of where to go. That kind of stuff. Where would Harrison be heading?
Probably towards the helm.
Okay.
Or wherever he can access the most electronics.
Okay. So you start heading down this passageway, and you kind of steer off towards the helm. We'll go to the back. You guys make it around to these relatively large cargo bay doors. This is Liko and Helix leading the way. Lorraine and Leo in your Minotaur sack are shortly behind. Helix, Liko, you see these large cargo bay doors. They look just like you left them. Do you all have... How do you want to try to get inside? Let's put it that way.
There's some sort of mechanism into opening the doors.
There are
outside?
emergency exterior controls. Now, you can go up. Do you have any, like I would say, do you have any specific skills in hacking or skills in heavy machinery or something like that?
I think we have both of those.
Okay.
I have industrial equipment.
Sure. Between the two of you, then, you're able to very easily... very able to very easily open up. The doors are one of these sideways opening up. You see them kind of pull across. They don't pull across all the way, but they leave this kind of tall entry point. You can see as you open it up, much like what Harrison just went to, there is this small little foyer, sort of like before you kind of so you don't vent the whole ship. You float inside. Minotaur comes in. Door closes behind you. And much like everything else, much like I was explaining with Harrison, the lights kind of start popping on. And you can see in front of you is the interior airlock cargo doors, very large. But again, if you want to, you can go through the process pretty easily. And as you do so, you realize Helix, Liko, there's Atmo. Minotaur realizes this as well. Lorraine, Leo, you watch as like the ceiling just kind of unstitches, falls down to the side, and you look around and you can see you're in the cargo bay of some kind of space station or spaceship. Leo and Liko and Helix, you've been here before. Like, this is your ship. But as you look around, you do notice that it looks slightly different than when you were last here. Because the first thing you notice as you start moving around, the lights start popping up, you notice there's a car in here.
I'm sorry?
There is a car in the cargo bay. It's kind of grungy looking, a little older. Got a couple dents in it here and there. It has some years on it, some mileage on it. And it is strapped down into the floor. You can see that it's got these safety harnesses coming up from the ground, wrapping around the wheel bed. It's affixed firmly in place. But there is a car in here. You do not remember a car.
Has someone been using our ship or something? I'm at a nice car, but not going to really help us here. Can I open the door to it?
You open up the door, yeah. You go up to it. You open the door. You can see that it is a relatively sporty sedan. It is certainly not a new model. It's definitely, I would probably say, about 15 to 25 years old, somewhere in that regard. It's in decent condition, though. The interior itself, it looks like it's been worn and used. The seats looks like they've been well used. There's some stains here and there. There's also kind of some fading on some of the interior. You do notice that there's what looks like kind of some sort of fancy looking thing hanging from the rear view mirror, I should say. And you look in the back seat, you notice in the back seat there's like a couple seat belts here and there. And what looks like some crumpled up like trash and stuff, like wrappers of things.
Leo will try opening the glove box to see if the owner's manual has a name in it or something, or if there's like receipts in there.
You open up the receipt, or you open up and you get the registration and all that kind of stuff is inside. You see the owner's manual, and you see a name that you recognize, Abigail Morton.
Hold on, I have to scroll way up in my notes.
It was Ashley's character to start the campaign. Abby Morton, yeah.
Oh,
yeah, we don't remember her.
I stand corrected.
Leo will poke his head out to Liko and Helix and say, I don't remember Abby having a vehicle on board the ship. Do either of you?
No, you're right. So I have no recollection.
Liko was looking to Ashley for a head nod or head shake. Did you have a car?
Looked to me. No, you did not have a car in the ship, but she did have a car at one point.
It was a memory.
Yeah, it was a memory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's registered to her.
And Liko is just sort of like kind of holding different parts of her, just kind of looking in pain, and she's just sort of like muttering like, I gotta go find some meds or something. And so she's gonna look to leave this area.
I have some in my first aid kit.
I just keep that on you. I'll put it back.
Okay. You know the hallway to take. A couple different routes out of here. Leo, as you're kind of getting out of the car, you bang your head a little bit on the thing hanging down from the rearview mirror, and you look over and you see it's like this dented prospector mug that's hanging on this little chain, this little rusted chain. It's wrapped around the rearview mirror itself. It just sort of floats around. Comes to a stop. Helix, Leo, Lorraine, what are the three of you doing before I kick it back to Harrison?
Start making my way towards the bridge, try to get access to the ship.
Okay. Helix, you start hopping there. There is gravity. So you're once again hopping and leaning. Meta Horse 25. Thank you so much. We really do appreciate that. You guys got some more bonuses. So you start hopping. You know the way. No issues whatsoever. Not a problem. Lorraine, Leo.
Should we do a sweep? Because if you guys didn't have this on here, then who brought this car onto your ship?
Could be a delivery, like next day delivery or something like that.
What?
Leo's just leaning into it. He's just like, yeah, she had it
great.
delivered. Leo does want to check the mug, prospector's mug, see if anything's in it. He also wants to see if the vehicle starts.
Sure. So the mug, there's nothing in it. It's just kind of hanging. Looks like it's just a fixture. It's dented and old. There are keys. Starts up just fine. You hear the rum kind of go. Other than that, there's just a couple. Looks like just a little trash in the back. There's also a trunk. So it does actually have a trunk. But yeah, that's it. Lorraine, what would you be doing? Helix and Liko have left. Leo's still kind of messing around with the car. Lorraine, what are you doing?
She'll follow after Liko because Minton's being weird and trying to kill himself with O2.
Okay, so
yeah.
Okay, so you hobble after Liko. Okay, we will kick over to Harrison. Harrison, you were here first. You wanted to go to the sort of the cockpit. You wanted to go to the front, somewhere on the ship, the bridge, we'll say, where you can gain access to some systems, and you're able to do so. Now, this place does not look familiar to you, but it looks like any other ship that you might imagine. There's nothing about it kind of standing out as out of the ordinary as you kind of travel through here. If you would like, though, if you would like, you don't have to. If you'd like to roll an intellect test, anything that might be related to any skills that might be related to perception or calculation or awareness, threat assessment, that kind of stuff, you're welcome to do that.
Like military training?
Sure, you can take military training.
All right, and I'll use an advantage too, since we got so many of them thanks to our audience.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Go right ahead. I did great there. 17 under 58.
Okay. As you are pushing through, kind of moving up towards the bridge, you get onto the bridge, and again, the lights are coming on every step of the way. So it's got that effect, like you're in the stacks of a library, right? And you get up to the bridge, you get on board, you step into it's a small bridge, room for a couple people to sit here and there. You see somebody sitting in the captain's chair. You see the shape of somebody. You kind of do a start, you double take, and you can see just before you go in, just before you kind of commit to stepping inside and kind of drawing attention to yourself, you see there's a figure sitting in what would be the equivalent of the captain's chair.
Pistol drawn, and I will loudly clear my throat.
Loudly clear your throat, and you see no reaction from that figure. Can't make out the figure, so it's like there's the seat, and so you can kind of see like the shoulders and like maybe the top of the head or something like that, but you can't make out. They don't seem to react to you though.
Gun pointed at them the whole time. I'm gonna start to walk in, and I want to check the corners too, make sure that he's the only one in the helm.
Step in, look to the left, you look to the right, check your corners. You don't see anything in here.
I will softly poke the back of his head with the pistol.
You softly
Their head.
poke the back of the head, and you watch as the head just rolls forward and collapses, thump, thump, and clanks on the ground. And you realize it's not a head, but it is a troubleshooter helmet, pristine condition, black, glossy, hardened plastic, and you've got the kind of the sort of the glossy red visor falls down to the ground, doesn't crack, and just makes this loud echo, this thrum in the room. And as it lands, and like as it kind of first lands in the lap, you can see the body shift slightly, and it is a full suit of troubleshooter mercenary armor. No one inside.
Okay. Pull the suit out of the chair, put it on the floor, try to seal off the helm if I can.
Okay.
Because we don't know the ship is empty. And then I want to get on the comms and try to talk to the rest of them. Everyone on board? Are we good to fire this thing up?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, all of you have comms actually hear Harrison's voice.
Let them know we're all on board.
All right, I got the helms. I haven't cleared the ship. I'm trying to
Don't
seal
touch the
helm.
temperature settings.
I turn it down to 68. And I'll try to go through ignition sequence.
Okay.
I'm not an expert pilot, but I think I'd be able to like turn it on and warm it up at least.
So you go to turn it on, you sit down, you kind of you go through I would say anybody who travels in space with a mercenary crew probably has the rudimentary understanding of how kind of piloting works. Just at the very least to start the ship up, get the engines. It's definitely just running in kind of this maintenance mode, right? You hear various sounds of machinery starting to hum. All of you around the ship can start hearing things almost as if they're coming to life, right? As that happens, Harrison, you hear the sound of static come from the console, of the captain's console, sort of I should say the pilot's console. And you hear a familiar voice pop out from it. Hello there. Welcome to the Doppler effect. I see you are trying to turn the Doppler effect on. Would you like assistance?
Sure.
Excellent. I will need your proper captain's identification. Please input it into the console now.
You know what? I think I got this.
Excellent. You can do this on your own. I believe in you.
I shoot the console and say, boring conversation anyways.
You hear error.
I don't have a captain's code, and I'm not even going to try and fake one. So I'd rather just try to turn it on and see how everything's looking on it on my own.
Okay. You hear the voice, you have not inputted your captain's code. 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 And it just kind of keeps going over and over again as you try to kind of get the ship to fully start up and do things.
Would any of us be able to call that out?
Though? Well, if he asks for something, yeah.
Yeah, I'll get on the comms. Liko, you were a pilot, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Why'd you say that in past tense, Harrison?
Do you have a captain's code?
Not a captain.
Does anyone have a captain's code?
Is captain code pretty normal if you fly a ship? Or is that something special?
Definitely you would want, definitely there's some sort of security input code, you would put in, whether it's called captain's code or just ready code, whatever it is. But yeah, it would be fairly common, especially if your ship's been running in maintenance mode for a while and just kind of been sitting around. Prevents someone from just grabbing it while it's parked.
I see. Then I'll just give him the string of inputs that give him access.
Okay. Do you trust Helix's communication here?
Helix is the only one I know for sure to be an android.
Okay.
So I guess I do trust him in a way.
Okay. And you hear,
Yeah.
Excellent. Welcome back, Captain Morton.
Thank you.
You are welcome. What would you like to do today?
Ignition sequence.
Ignition sequence initiated.
How many beings are on this ship right now?
Clarify. Beings.
How many synthetic and organic intelligences are on this ship?
Captain Morton, should I consider myself in that count?
Yes.
There are 7 beings.
How many of them are organic?
Hang on. I want to make sure I get this right. I'm not trying to fool you guys. There are 5.
Now I'm trying to do the math.
It's
Shouldn't there
tricky,
only be
right?
4?
It's tricky. You got to give yourself a second.
Does that include the penguin?
Query. Penguin.
Helix, didn't you mention you have a penguin?
Yeah, it should be on board.
Ship. What ship? What's your name?
I am the Doppler effect.
Doppler effect. Is there a penguin on board?
Query. Penguin.
A flightless bird.
Query. Flightless bird. On board. Inconclusive.
All right, so Lico's on board.
Just call Lico a flightless bird. A weird burn.
Sorry, watching too much Always Sunny. Yeah, I think if we get ignition going, I would ask it to seal all exterior doors.
Exterior doors sealed.
And pull up navigation data for our current location.
Navigation data. Accessible. Console 2. You see it off to your left. This console lights up.
Are we in the deep?
Query. Deep.
Is this ship inside of another ship or space station?
Does not compute.
Looking at the map, can I see where the deep is where we are?
Sure, you go over to the console, you take a look at the map. Very clearly you can see navigational radar. There's the deep. There's your ship. There's the deep. There's your ship. Now, you can see that there is a just massive amount of navigational logs, just pulled up on this console, tons of them. You can see it kind of goes back all these different sort of log trips. So where from point A to point B, there's just dozens and dozens of them logged up on this console.
Anywhere that I would recognize, the locations?
So if you take a moment to start going through them, you notice that the very first one you look at is the destination is the deep, the Cloud Bank Synthetics facility. The point of origin, Mount Suko Station on a planet called Abby's World. You look at the previous one, and you see that origin, the deep / Cloud Bank Synthetics facility, destination, Mount Suko Station on Abby's World. And then start going through all of them, and it's every single log is either to Mount Suko Station on Abby's World or from Mount Suko Station on Abby's World, and the other side of the destination is always the deep. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And you can see there are dozens and dozens of these entries going back months and months and months and months.
I never actually met Abby, so I don't think that would be as disconcerting.
No, fair enough.
Would I be able to see the coordinates for Abby's World to see like how far it is?
Yeah, if you take a look, you would probably be in flight for roughly 3 to 5 weeks, depending on how much you push it. Likely would require cryo to not have like weird things start to happen to your mind, but somewhere between 3 and 5 weeks.
I'll get on the comms. It looks like these navigation logs either are glitched or forged. There's only 2 locations back and forth, and there's no way the ship could have made it past the blockade.
So, at this point, Helix will say you arrive. You're on the bridge area. You see Harrison at the navigation controls. You see a suit for a troubleshooter merc nearby, no one in it. And you hear him kind of communicate that. Do you do anything, Helix, as you first show up?
Just sort of get acclimated, set up, get ready to take off and navigate.
Would he have been able to get in the helm without me letting him in because I sealed it?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant helm, like the helmet. My bad. I misunderstood.
Oh, sorry. No.
So it would probably be like a hack test to try to make it so that he couldn't get in. So I'd say roll competing hack tests. The two of you both have hacking. Both of you roll hacking, and whoever gets.
I mean, if he knocked,
Hackathon.
I would let him in, but I would have to ask him a couple questions to make sure he is who he is.
Harrison, just let me in. Come on.
Okay.
God damn it,
Only
Harrison. They
something
only
that
scanned,
only Helix would know.
Harrison, it only scanned 8 beings on board.
Scan 7.
The Penguin's 8.
The Penguin was inconclusive. Helix, tell me something only you would know. Helix starts hacking.
Only I would know. My butter knife I've had with me the entire time. I used it to cut my restraints once.
Yeah, that was
Your
a bad
butt is
test,
a knife?
Harrison.
Wait, what?
What did you say? I didn't hear you through the door. Say that one more time.
I said I have a sharpened butter knife.
Butter knife. Okay. Okay. I'll open the door.
Okay. Door opens up. Helix, you get on the bridge. So you said you wanted to just sort of strap in and get into like a pilot's position?
We're just like navigating piece piloting.
Okay. So 2 of you get into either navigation, piloting position. Perfectly fine. We'll go over then to Liko and Lorraine, who had moved over to the medical bay. Liko, you open up into the medical bay. First of all, is this just none of this looks familiar to you? Like, the layout's correct.
Mhm.
But the various adornments that you and your crew have put on this place, you don't see. Like, now you're in like the main like public halls. You haven't checked out like your specific quarters or anything yet, but just looking around, it just doesn't, something about it feels off, right? It just feels wrong. Like everything's in the right place, hallways, the rooms, etc., but things don't seem quite right. You get onto the medical bay. The medical bay is, you can see like when you move down this long passageway, you kind of go up a flight of short metal stairs, and then you have on one side of the landing there is medical bay, on the other side is cryo chamber. You can see very clearly marked. You pop into the medical bay. Again, kind of looks the way you would expect it to look, but you remember Menton had a way of his bay. It didn't look as well kept as this one looks. You know, there's an organization to this one that is clearly recognizable, whereas Dr. Menton's creative in how he preps his things.
Did they get rid of my sock nest?
Liko, there is no sock nest. You do, however, see something out of the ordinary. You don't recall seeing it. There is a refrigerated cabinet that seems to be affixed into the corner of the room. Everything else looks the same, just cleaner, organized.
And walking down the hall, Liko is just sort of shaking her head, like this just doesn't. This isn't right. This just doesn't look right. I mean, it's an improvement, sort of what a medical area should probably look like, but this just doesn't. And that wasn't. That, and so she'll go over to that.
Liko, your
area.
comms are open. My medical bay was perfectly fine.
Oh, right. You did wonderful things in here.
I kept the blood in your veins. Thank you.
Yep. Fair point. But and so she's going to stop muttering and go over to this new area.
Okay. So it's a refrigerated cabinet of some kind.
And she's going to kind of look back to Lorraine as she
Who steps into the room. Like, Lorraine, you're right there now, we'll say.
You're muttering to yourself a lot. Maybe you should just take a seat on that nice bed. I'll see what you need.
This just doesn't look.
Just sit down. Stop
right.
talking. I know it's okay.
This doesn't. And so she's gonna just open the refrigerated cabinet door.
Yeah, you open the door, and you see hanging from a few different spokes. There are dozens and dozens of blood bags.
You might be interested in this. Actually, we weren't running a blood bank in here, but it looks like now there's blood.
Why do you think I consume blood? I know that as a practitioner of the Minotaur, it's a little different than what normal people would expect, but we do not consume blood for fun.
You're all about the Minotaur.
Yeah.
Which means not so much all about the monarch.
No. Praise be the Minotaur.
Okay.
Why? Why are you thinking about the monarch?
Well, no. How can you not? I mean, it's just so much. And so Liko's kind of looking through drawers and whatnot. She's trying to find stim pack.
Yeah, absolutely. Stim pack, pain pills, lots of stuff in here. Well stocked.
Okay. So Lorraine will see Liko kind of grab a handful of things, and then I'm assuming the stim pack is sort of like a self-injection kind of a thing.
Let's see. Stim pack, I think, is a shot. I think we have it in the thing.
Yeah, it didn't necessarily specifically say if it was a shot. So,
yeah, it restores 1d10 health and grants advantage to strength in combat for 2d10 minutes.
So I will shoot myself with stim pack injection. So that means I get 7 health back.
I would also like some of the good stuff.
Yeah. So go right ahead, 2d10, and then 2d10 for the health, and then 2d10 for how long you get your strength advantage for.
Okay. So, wow.
So as you guys are doing your shooting yourselves up. You look down at the wrapper within which you grab the stim pack out, and you notice a familiar logo, or at least it's familiar to Liko. Whether it's familiar to Lorraine, maybe. You see the logo of Advanced Systems Limited. I'm going to kick over to Leo while you all figure out your health situation. Leo? What are you doing? Last we saw you, you were messing around in this car.
Yeah. He was going to turn the engine off, do a quick check of the trunk. If there was nothing interesting there, that memory that he had gotten of making cupcakes with his sister, he is at 20 stress right now, so he wants to relieve some stress. So he wants to find the kitchen and make cupcakes after he saw the sprinkles in the Minotaur.
Okay. So
he'll even invite the Minotaur along.
Okay. Minotaur will say no one claimed the Minotaur, so we'll say the Minotaur's been hanging out with Leo. Leo, you check the trunk and you find stacks of neatly folded clothes. You can see there's stacks of khaki pants and polo shirts. All of the polo shirts are like this navy blue color, and each one of them has a little, very kind of a fancy looking logo. Doesn't immediately strike you as familiar. And you see in this sort of cursive writing, Wyatt and Lane Travel Agency.
Guys, do we turn our ship into a timeshare or something? We've got a bunch of uniforms in the back of this vehicle.
I think we've all noticed, but things have been placed differently. A bit strange.
But our access code still worked?
It's like almost a replica, yeah.
Helix, are you sure this is your ship?
Well, absolutely not. Everything does not match up, but somehow it does appear to be ours.
Oh, if it's a replica, then it's going to have Helix. Do you think you can hack into the system and figure out if it's got its own mission or its own objective? Like if we turn the engines on, is this thing going to autopilot us into a sun?
I am here. I can take some time, yes. Figure out what's happening here.
The engines are on, by the way. You did ignite the engines. So the
we've already started ignition, so.
I do not want to go into a sun anytime soon. Please let me know if there's some sort of if this is a replica and we're all about to die in this screaming metal death trap I want off.
You'll be the first person to know.
Sounds good. I'll be checking other areas, and that's when Menton will go to the kitchen to make cupcakes.
Okay. So you go to the kitchen. When you get there, first of all, the travel there, much like Liko, it just feels off. Right? Everything's in the right place. Everything's exactly where you expect it to be. But like there's, various affectations with the ship, scratches, stains, dents, etc. that you kind of get used to over time. And you don't recall, like some of them to just doesn't feel right.
I haven't found a single rock with googly eyes on it.
No, nothing like that at all. You do notice when you get into the kitchen, however, that there is on one of the counters, there is a large bakery box, like a cardboard and plastic bakery box.
I'll go over to it and see if it's opened.
When you look inside, it is not. It is got the seal of freshness, and inside you see 6 cupcakes, each of which with colorful frosting on top, sprinkles and such.
Leo's going to mutter to himself angrily, but he'll turn his mic off first. Okay. I would assume there's some sort of like internal cameras in this ship, like CCTV footage.
Sure, probably a little bit of that.
Yeah, he wants to go to that room next and start looking through some records and seeing what's been going on this ship.
Okay. So there are quarters nearby that each have personal consoles. You could probably find some stuff in there. Otherwise, the bridge, otherwise, or like kind of the engineering bay. You basically just need to get to a console, like a proper console. Kitchen, we'll say, just has like kitchen stuff. So closest would be, closest would be quarters, or you can go up to the bridge, or you can go down to the engineering.
Engineering will be fine.
Okay, so we'll say you head on out and you travel down in the direction of engineering. We'll kick back to the bridge where Harrison and Helix are figuring out where to go. Where do you guys want to go?
Where did you park the original ship?
Should be at the bell.
That's where we should go.
Put that into navigation, see if we can get there.
Course plotted. And it's not very far. It's literally around the other side of the station. And you guys travel. Very impulse-like small engines. And eventually, it's not very long. We'll say it's a 15 to 30-minute jaunt. And there's the bell. Remember that the bell is basically like a retrofitted rocket. And you can see that inside the bell, as where the rocket is, there's different ships, small ships, much like you know, ghost eaters and things like that are anchored essentially to the inside of the bell itself. So you start closing in, get nearby, you look out, do some basic scans. You've got your various equipment. You do not see the Doppler effect in there.
Shall we still park here?
We can't trust this ship. But if we dock, we may contaminate the bell. What do you think?
Contaminate it with what?
Bringing parts of the Monarch to where the Monarch did not have much sway. And there's got to be...
Isn't that the whole purpose of the place? Everyone brings artifacts back up. What makes this any different?
It's a good question. Normally, you don't find an exact replica of a ship. I'd say that's a little different. This could be a trap.
The only other option is to leave with the ship. That could also be a bad idea.
Well, then I guess docking it is. Take us in, Doppler effect.
Right away. And you just feel the ship kind of move in that direction. And eventually, you're inside the bell. Doesn't take very long. In that process, while that was happening, Liko and Lorraine, over the course of like the 20 to 30 minutes between travel and kind of trying to find a way to dock within the bell, what have you two been doing?
So Liko got her stim pack and she was kind of rummaging around in, kind of everything that was there. And I think Lorraine got her stim pack as well.
Mm-hmm.
Liko is kind of, this doesn't look right. There's the Minton had his things in here and they're not here, and it just don't. And Liko is very awkwardly, Lorraine, you'll notice that you're not hearing her through comms. So like she's in the room with you, but you're not kind of hearing her through comms. And she just fairly awkwardly kind of stands up tall and just kind of comes towards you. And you see that she had grabbed a different syringe when she was in the drawer.
Okay.
And she's going to kind of come after you. And she's just going to be muttering, this isn't right. This can't be right. This can't be right. Monarch wouldn't. No.
So Lorraine sees all
Lorraine's-
this, you said? Lorraine sees all
Yeah.
of this? Okay.
Yeah, I want to
Yeah.
give Lorraine a chance to see sort of what's.
Lorraine's on comms and she's like, Lika's acting weird. She's trying to, she's coming at me with stuff. And like,
Shoot her.
if she- I don't got that. And I'm, so she'll pull out the nail
Container.
gun.
Put her in a room.
Okay. So let's do opposing speed tests. Let's see who's quicker. As Liko's coming in to try to stab with a stim pack, it also needs to go through her suit. And then Lorraine, you said you're trying to pull out what exactly?
I'll just pull out the vibe shetty then.
Okay. So you
That
want
makes more sense.
I want you to do what you want to do. Don't worry about what makes sense. None of this really makes sense. So
That's true. Then she'll pull out the nail gun that Liko gave her.
okay. Both of you roll speed tests.
All right. We have plenty. Ashley, we have plenty of advantage.
Okay. I got a 17 and I needed a 41.
Okay. I'm taking an advantage. I need a 39.
Lorraine,
Wow.
listen very carefully. I left a tranq pistol taped under the desk. Shoot Liko in the throat. She'll pass out. It should be fine.
Son of a bitch. I did not pass even with advantage. Is there crit fails in this?
You're doing it. You said you're doing it. You rolled with advantage, right?
I rolled an advantage and the best that I got was a 44, which is a fail.
Well, the best what you got is a non-critical fail. Like if you
I
have
understood.
if you have
Okay,
yeah. So,
Yeah.
Okay. So Lorraine, you get the gun up before Liko fully closes in on you. So if you want to pull the trigger, you can. If you want to use that in some other fashion, that's yours. But you have the gun up. It's your action. What would you like to do?
Yeah, she's gonna shoot.
Okay. So yeah, roll your normal attack. Roll combat.
Oh, and I passed with a 3 and I needed a 34.
Okay. Roll your damage.
It's just 1d5.
Okay.
And I got a 5.
Okay. So that I just want to double check the weapon itself, make sure there wasn't like wound damage on this, or is it just
It
one?
has a critical effect of bleeding.
Okay. But you didn't roll a critical.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so 5 points of damage. Liko, as you come towards Lorraine quickly pulls the nail gun up, fires. You feel a pierce, like right kind of in your torso. And
I want to like trap her against a wall or something.
these are
They're
relatively small
Okay,
nails.
Okay, I don't know.
It's
what I was
it's
thinking.
1d5 damage. It's not a harpoon.
Yeah.
So you basically just get pierced. And you take so you take 5 points of damage. Your suit is punctured. You can feel it in you. What do you like to do? What's your action?
Continuing.
Okay, so now you go ahead and make an attack.
Yep. Nope. This isn't. Nope. There's got to be. There's something hidden. This wouldn't work. I've got to look. I've got to make sure. Can I try, like a strength to try to grapple her?
Are you trying to stab her with the syringe now, or are you trying to grapple her? We're in PvP, so we're gonna do.
Yeah.
You get an action if you're.
I'm gonna try to grapple
Okay.
because she now took out a weapon at me. So
So
now
we'll
I'm
make
gonna try to
this.
grapple her.
I mean, we could do opposing strength. Probably makes sense.
Okay. We both have advantage to strength in combat because
for it.
we both
Just took
I guess we
stims.
yeah, because we both took stems. So strength is 41. That's a fail, and that's a success.
Okay.
Okay.
What'd you get, Ashley?
I got a 20 and I needed a 40.
What did you roll, Liko?
19.
Okay, 20
I
is
needed
higher.
41.
We're gonna do blackjack rules. So 20 over 19. So you try to grapple Lorraine, but she just kind of stiff arms you away, and you're unable to wrap your arms around
You're
her.
putting us all at risk. you're putting us all at risk.
What
You've
are
got
you talking
you've,
about?
you've got to have something. There's no way this wouldn't work. There's got to be. You just gotta.
You're the
just-
one compromised. Look what the fuck you're doing.
There's something inside. I gotta look inside. I gotta have the doctor look inside. Just that it's not inside me. It's got to be inside somebody. It just wouldn't work.
It's in you. It's
Nope.
in you. I
Nope.
know
It just. It
Do we
wouldn't
all
work.
just hear this over?
You
comms?
guys hear this on comms, I think. I
Yeah.
think this makes sense. Open comms, you hear
Okay.
this.
Nico, I think your system's in shock right now and you're doing stupid shit. I can't tell because I'm not in the room, but whatever you both are doing, I need you to sit down calmly and I will be up there in a moment to give you both a nice sedative.
No. I have one. I'm trying to give it to her because she's gonna blow us up. She's gonna blow us
You're
up.
not a trained doctor. Let the trained doctor sedate you both.
She's gonna shoot me before you get here. I've gotta. Nope.
I'm
I've
gonna
gotta.
drop the
gotta
nail
check.
gun and try and stab her with the vibe shetty.
Yeah, so what we're going to do is both of you roll speed tests again to start the second round to see who gets to go first. That's how we're just going to do a speed test to see who gets to act first each round.
Would you like an advantage, Ashley?
No.
Oh, look at Ashley. Ashley rolling. I don't need a speed
Right?
test.
Oh my gosh! Why can I never remember what that means?
I got a 10.
Okay.
I
Triple zero is
rolled-
0.
000 is 0.
In Mothership. Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
I
there's
rolled
the
a
0 to 99. Yeah.
I rolled a 0.
Okay. Lico, go ahead. 0. Actually, well, no. We just said what's it called?
Triple
Blackjack
0
rolls.
is a critical success.
That's fair. Critical success. So critical success should go before a 10. So Lico, yeah, you get the first action.
Okay. I was going to knock you out first before I did this, but all right, I'm just gonna have to do it. And so she's gonna pull out her vibe shetty.
Okay. Okay. So you let go of whatever
I was gonna sedate her, but
you let the syringe
fine.
go,
We'll just-
clatters to the ground. You pull the vibra
vibe
out,
shetty. Yep.
and you swing at her. Yeah, go ahead.
Gosh darn it. The dice don't want me to hurt you.
Okay.
Ashley.
You
it's a fail.
Slash out at Lorraine. Lorraine, you just
Yeah.
shift slightly to the side. Blade clatters against the side of the wall. You still have it in your hand. Lorraine, you can now return. What do you want to do?
I'm going to take advantage to attack.
So that's what it is. Actually, like, I don't need advantage on
I'll
speed.
take it this time.
I'll take it
I
for
got-
the
I
time.
got
Oh,
it.
you're pulling out a
I
Viper
didn't take
Shetty?
it.
Put on a Viper Shetty?
Right? I should have taken it, but I didn't.
I just passed with a 34 and I needed a 34.
That's a hit. Roll damage.
That's 3d10.
Stop getting blood all over my medical room.
Guys-
That's my job.
What are you three doing while this is happening? Are any of you coming to the med bay?
Helix.
I think I'm gonna stick here and just complete the mission.
Okay.
Menton
I
will
close the
detour
door
from
to the
his-
helm.
It's just the two of you in the bridge. You're by yourselves. Menton, what are you doing?
Yeah, he'll gripe and moan about his
Okay.
security tape, and he'll run over to the medical bay with Minotaur in tow.
Yeah.
20 damage, Lico.
It's a,
Oh.
20?
it's a Viper
shit.
Shetty. They do 3d10
Yeah.
damage.
Okay, so I want to make sure that I know this. So I had one of 2 wounds,
Okay.
and I had 17 of 19 health.
You just took a second wound. Because, well, you have armor points, but those would have been used up by the previous attack. So
Yeah.
you are taking a second wound, and that means you have to roll on the second.
Roll on the wound table.
This is, but specifically, you're rolling on the final wound because you're 2 of 2, right?
Right. Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
So Ashley gets to kill you this way. Okay, so roll on
God.
the final.
Why'd you attack me?
final
If any
wound.
limbs are on the
Because-
ground when I get there, you both are going to
Because-
be in a lot of trouble. I swear to God.
roll on that final wound there, Melissa.
All right. Hey.
Ashley and Melissa, describe how Lico is killed here.
So when Lorraine went in to stab Lico, she kind of like caught her in the throat and just ripped down through her chest cavity.
You're and just Liko, as she's just kind of holding her throat, she's like, no, the monarch wouldn't have let this happen. Somebody's gonna blow up. Somebody's gonna kill us all. I was looking for the bomb. The Minotaur wouldn't let us go.
You're the bomb. It's okay. And you'll watch as, like, after Liko kind of settles, Lorraine locks herself in the room and she settles down on top of Liko and starts cutting her guts. And she's pulling.
Liko, as you're on the ground while this is happening, like, you're looking up and you can see underneath the counter and in the place where Leo had said he like kind of strapped an injection gun. You don't see an injection gun. Instead, you see a framed photograph. And you see it's right there, and you're just feeling like the end of Braveheart, like stuff's happening kind of below the camera. And you're looking up and you can see this photograph, and you see a picture of what looks like two grown-up men on a swing set being pushed by a woman, and you recognize the two grown-up men. One of them appears to be in far better condition than when you last saw them. Richard, one of the synths that you encountered when you were inside the labyrinth. The other, Jonathan. And you can see that they're both in perfect condition, no damage anymore. They're no longer split in half. And they're right there. And as you're looking, like there's like a woman that's like kind of in the process of pushing them on swings. You recognize her as well. Like you can see like that image looks so familiar. Looks very, very much like your mother, Liko.
What?
She's got this stern look on her face, like she's not enjoying herself whatsoever. But both Richard and Jonathan have this bright, happy face on. What's the last thing you say, Liko, before your eyes close?
You're all gonna die.
What the fuck is happening in there?
And Leo, at this point, you reach the med bay, and because it's dramatic, we'll say there's a window in the med bay door. You look inside, you see Liko on the ground, blood everywhere, and you see Lorraine is just sort of like pulling stuff up out of Liko.
Guys, I don't mean to sound panic right now, but we got a real fucking problem over here in the med bay. We've got Lorraine pulling stuff out like she's a clown pulling a handkerchief. Like, you know that trick, the clown? Get up here now.
Shoot her.
The door blocks tranq pistol darts, Harrison. You have the bigger gun. All I've got is frag
Why would you
grenades.
use a tranquilizer? Shoot her.
I don't have a gun. Are you daft? Get up here, Mr. Combat Experience.
We could
I
just
look
lock
over to
the
Helix
med bay
and-
from here, right?
What'd you say,
What
Helix?
was that?
So we could just lock the med bay from here.
I mean, I think Lorraine did lock it, so I think she said she did.
Okay, then just keep an eye on her. We'll be there in a sec. Because we're still docking.
Yeah, how close are we to docking?
I'll say you hear the voice say, "Coupling complete."
Helix, I say we get off the ship immediately. If you want, I'll wait for you to put on that troubleshooter suit.
Hey, your comms are open, asshole. I heard that.
Leo needs my help, Ellie. I'm in the system for a bit.
Then you definitely want to put on that troubleshooter suit.
Okay, I will gear up.
Okay. Helix, you gear up. Menton, what are you doing? You see Lorraine and Lorraine, what are you doing? Like you're
You
just
hear her as she's like, "Where's the fucking bomb? I know she planted a bomb. One of us is a bomb. Where is it?"
What the hell has gotten into both of you people? Menton will look at the Minotaur and say, "What is happening right now?"
he unfortunately the Minotaur cannot communicate with you as Helix is not here. So the Minotaur is just sort of staring at you. It's back in its that kind of like bulbous bestial looking shape, but its many eyes are blinking. and it doesn't respond.
I have frag grenades. I don't feel like blowing up my own, well, even a replica of my ship. This is the only access point in and out of the med bay, right?
There might be like vents or something like that, or ducts, but no. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, Menton kind of turning the morbidity on, seeing all the blood on the floor, is like, well, she's not going to get more dead, so I guess I'll just sit here and wait for backup.
Okay. Harrison, Helix, I'll say Helix, you have fully put on your suit. Harrison, Helix, you're in the currently locked bridge. What do you do?
I have plotted the fastest course to the exit from the helm, and I've plotted the fastest course from the helm to the med bay, and I've plotted the fastest course from the med bay off the ship.
Okay.
So I want to have all those routes ready in my head while Helix is getting geared up.
Sure, that's fine. We can say that's happening. So we'll say Helix is fully geared. You've heard everything that Leo said. You've heard some of what Lorraine has said. You're aware that Liko has been killed by Lorraine, and Lorraine is talking about a bomb.
Can I do something?
Of course. What do you like to do?
So Menton's going to watch as Lorraine stands up, and she comes to look at him through the window, and she smears blood over the window so he can no longer see into the room. And then she wants to try and get into the vents.
Okay. When you smear blood on the window, you can see the Minotaur standing behind Menton. Except it is not the same image that you normally expect to see with the Minotaur. This bulbous, blue, many-eyed, many-scarred creature. It is the most beautiful, beautiful thing Lorraine has ever seen in her entire life. What is it?
Most beautiful thing she's ever seen. So she hasn't consumed too much media in her life, but she did see a few movies when she was younger. And so the most beautiful thing that she's ever seen is the wife from Roger Rabbit. And so that's what she sees.
That is exactly what you see standing behind Menton. You see Jessica Rabbit in all her curves standing behind Menton. But what you also see is an utterly disappointed look on her face as she stares at you, shaking her head, and sort of this look of disbelief and disappointment at you.
So then at that point, instead of going to try and climb through the vents, Menton will watch as she hits the button to open the door, and she immediately falls to her knees and starts begging for forgiveness, that she was trying to protect them.
I'm going to shoot her with the tranq pistol.
The Monarch gave us planted a bomb amongst one of us.
Okay. So you're down, you're kind of get your hands up and you're saying all these things, and Menton, you just start unloading tranq pistols. Lorraine, do you defend yourself from the tranq pistol or any? Okay. Nope. Then we'll say you eventually, as you're talking, you get really, really loopy and your eyes kind of start to blink. You feel like you're about to go down. And then you collapse, knocked out. Leo, she's on the ground. Turn around. Minotaur still behind you. Looks exactly the way it looks, the bulbous, weird-looking bestial form. Liko's body is there. Her head's kind of staring up, like lifeless. You see your med bay. Your med bay is in really nice shape, actually. You see this cabinet in the corner, doors open, bunch of blood. What would you like to do, Leo?
And like a cry, like a cry of desperation, like Menton will just like gesture to Liko and then like look at the Minotaur and say like, please tell me you can do something. I can't put all that blood back in. I know you're not magic, but you're probably smarter than me. Like, something. And then while he's kind of like freaking out, he's gonna try and find something that would work to make bindings for Lorraine's hand, so he can like basically handcuff her.
You could find that kind of stuff. There's probably some kind of something here. You trying to think of there either be something in the med bay, or you can go to the cryo bay. You'd probably be able to find something. At the very least, you could find like bandages or something like that, and you can kind of like wrap. So at the very least, yeah.
So he'll carry her to like a bed, medical bed, tie her up, and then he's gonna run a scan to see if there's anything abnormal about being tranked up to hell right now.
So there's just the one bed in here. It's a modest room, and like that's Vico's body is laying underneath it. Like her head is like tucked underneath the bed. So and there's blood everywhere from the fight. Do you want to do this here, or do you want to move Lorraine out of here?
Just to keep the party together, he'll just do it in here. He'll put like a sheet or something over Lico's body and just be like, for God's sake.
So yeah, you run your scan. She's on a lot of tranks. You don't think she's going to wake up for a while. You're not noticing anything to suggest that the tranks themselves are doing anything, but you do see very high blood pressure, like signs of like really high pulse rate, despite the fact that she's tranked to hell.
Is this like hypertension with age, or like
could be that? It could be stress. Could be who knows? But yeah, you're pretty confident it's not your tranquilizers, though. That doesn't make sense.
He'll just sit down wherever he can with his hands on his head, and he'll just say on the comms, "Lorraine's down. I got her restrained. Whenever you guys get here."
Okay, so we'll go back to Harrison and Helix, who are on the bridge. Helix, you're now fully in the suit. What would you guys like to do?
If there's a bomb, we should evacuate right now.
Guys, I didn't find a bomb.
If there's a bomb, we should evacuate right now. I'm saying to Helix.
Can't leave Benson by himself. I'll go fetch him. You can wait on the bell if you want.
Fair enough.
Okay. Helix, you start heading in the direction of the medbay. Menton,
Yeah, the hobble there.
Yeah. Menton, you start heading in the direction of the airlock to get off here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm headed towards the airlock.
Okay. So you go over to the airlock. That's closer than the medbay. So you're there first. Plus Helix is hobbling a bit, missing a foot still. You get there. Open up the airlock. Go through. Open up the exterior airlock. Small umbilical. All of this checks out. Go through. Kind of float for a bit as 0G kicks in. Come to another door. And it's like a sort of this heavy duty metal door, but you can tell it's an airlock door. Do you bang? Do you knock on it, or do you just try to open it up?
Try to open it.
You open it up. No issues. Kicks open. It is a extraordinarily dark and empty, like just black up in front of you. Shine some lights in here and there if you have some on the suit. And it certainly looks like the interior of some kind of hacked together station. Like you can tell just by looking at it when you first came in, this is a rocket retrofitted, but you can see what looks like, passageways, little directions here and there.
I don't like that it's empty, I say on comms.
Helix and Leo, you would hear those. You would hear that still.
Like the what's empty?
The bell. It's dark.
Oh, you're not lit. Okay, well, I'm sure you'll figure it out.
I'll start heading further in, because if there is a bomb, I don't want to be near an airlock when it goes off.
Okay. You start pushing into the bell itself. Now, as you come inside, the first thing you see when you look around is just empty, like this large, empty room. It's sort of like how would I describe it? It looks like this sort of large empty chamber, like it likely at one point was used perhaps as like a kind of a place to park vehicles or cargo of some kind. You see there's an airlock door off to your right. Looks like there's there's just some normal non-airlock door off to your right, and then there's an airlock door straight ahead and to your left. You don't see anybody in here. No lights. 0G. I don't think you've ever been to the bell either.
No. I'm going to try to be quiet, though. I don't want to be making a ton of noise.
Okay. So, regular door, straight ahead, or to your left?
Straight ahead.
Okay.
Well, whichever way would get me further from the Doppler.
Straight ahead. You float straight ahead, come to another one of these airlock doors. It's old school. It's like a turn submarine style door. Loosen it up, pull it open, push yourself through, close it behind yourself. You're in a kind of this airlock partition. Come to the next one, do the same thing, open it up. You move inside, and it's again pitch black, 0G. You're not getting any signs of any kind of electricity or anything like that. No signals on the radio. When you look around, you are in what looks like, as you shine your light around, it looks like some kind of chapel. You kind of almost like freak out as you're shining your flashlight around, and you see hanging from the ceiling, like affixed to it, is this massive whale skeleton. And you got the flashlight kind of throwing these different shadows atop of it. You can see what looks like this small kind of altar with a crucifix affixed to it, but the crucifix has too many arms. It just doesn't make sense. And you can see that there are all these candles all over the place, none of which are lit.
There's some sort of altar, like a cult has been here.
Oh, I think I know where you are. Is there something hanging from the ceiling?
Yeah, some sort of fish skeleton.
Oh, yeah, that's a Minotaur church.
Great.
Our last friend was really good friends with the priestess. She's nice. You might like her. I don't know why.
Doesn't seem like she's still here.
Well, they might all be asleep. I don't know what time it is.
Nobody's asleep. I'll keep moving.
Yeah, if you go further into the room, another door at the very far end of it. So chapel's not extraordinarily big. But you head out, and it's again this time it's not an airlock door. As you're moving, you notice some shadows on the wall kind of shift ever so slightly. You look back and you look up. You can tell that the whale skeleton has shifted positions, you think? Maybe? There's a door right in front of you, though, if you wanted to push through.
How far did it shift?
Well, you remember when you came into the room, its head was kind of contorted and looking down at you when you came in. Now, as you look up at it, its head is contorted down and it's looking at you, but you've crossed the room entirely, so that doesn't make any sense at all.
Leaving this room, but I want to start being a bit more thorough with searching now that I've gotten further from the Doppler, so I'll check like side rooms and stuff like that.
Okay. Well, there's just the one room out of here. It's one way in. Like there's like the route you came in, and then there's another door out of this chapel. So do you push further inward?
Further inward. Yeah,
okay.
I want to try to find living quarters of some sort.
You push in, you look around, and you see, for the first time, a little light, actually. These little fluorescent lights here and there. And you can see that there is this is a gigantic green space, and there's like these very dimly lit fluorescents that you can tell they're probably kind of really low energy. There are these, as you're looking around, dozens and dozens of tiny shrines that have been affixed here in between roots of what you think is a tree, maybe, or just the roots. You're not entirely sure.
I'll investigate the roots. I don't know. I don't see many trees in my line of work.
Okay. Yeah, it's not like a full tree. It's just like it's a green, like it's like a greenhouse, right? Like there's just green everywhere, right? And like plants and things like that. But there's like roots here and there growing and crawling along the floor and the walls. And then you've got these little shrines here and there. And there's occasional like a flickering, floating fluorescent.
Does it look like they're growing any sort of food or anything like that?
When you look around, you don't notice any like edible fruits or vegetables on here. Like there's some petals and bulbs and stuff. It might just not be like sprouting season. It doesn't maybe not. It's actually a very large industrial sized room. So it would take you at least 20 or 30 minutes to fully explore, which you can do. And we can kick back to Helix and Leo and then come back.
Yeah, I'll start. I want to be a bit more thorough now. If there's some sort of light here, then that means there might be someone here. So I'm going to be more thorough.
Okay. Helix, Leo, come back to you. Harrison has left the ship. Helix, you catch up with Leo. You see the horrific remains of Liko. There's a sheet covered over top of her. You see Lorraine is bound on the med table, unconscious, but alive. You see the Minotaur is here. You see Leo is here as well. What do you guys want to do?
Liko's dead, all right.
Yep.
You guys are the best.
I just imagine that they're smoking as they're saying it, like.
Hey. I think she's dead.
Menton
Blood out in their blood.
Menton kind of just unsure what to do with himself in his hands, since he's just witnessed a violent aftermath. And we'll notice Helix hobbling. Can I fix his foot or I guess repair? I don't know if this is more medical or if this is more engineering, since he's an android.
You could fix it, sure. Helix, as you come in, though, you can tell that the Minotaur is like motioning at you. Like you see that like tentacle arm is kind of coming out. Like it wants to communicate, but once more, it's always asking for your permission.
Yeah, the meatball couldn't help Liko. I asked it.
Right. I don't think anyone could help her now. But could you fix my leg here? It's been bothering me ever since the G went off.
Yeah, I can see why.
Okay, so you don't want to talk to the Minotaur, and you want to stop and spend
If he could,
an hour or two to fix your foot.
Yeah, he could talk with the Minotaur while he's fixing my foot, right? I don't need to be moving or doing anything.
Sure, I guess that can happen. It's going to take a while to fix your foot. He's reattaching a foot is not like it's not like you unplug your finger and you're plugging it back in. Like
you mean it's not like a USB? It's not.
I don't think so. I'm going to say no on that. It's going to take a little while because it's surgery, and surgery takes time. So like it would take some time to do it, but you can if you want.
I'm okay with doing it, and Harrison's off exploring the wonders of the bell, and Lorraine's unconscious, so I could talk with the Minotaur while I'm reattaching a foot. I do have surgery.
Perhaps restrain Lorraine while she's still unconscious.
I already said that I did, Harrison. Go back to looking at trees.
God damn, I hate that man. I'm gonna turn off my cups.
So Helix, do you let the Minotaur talk to you or talk
Yeah, I'm
through
going to
you?
give access to the
Okay.
Minotaur. Yeah.
So Menton, you can go ahead and roll like a surgery test, and if you do well, we'll say it happens fast. And we got plenty of dice from folks from Captain and Too Old to Twitch and a few others.
Yes.
Yeah,
we have
I'll
plenty.
take it.
Okay.
I'll take an advantage then.
So as they connect to you, Helix, once more, you kind of go through the same process. You can feel the consciousness of the Minotaur flowing through you. And then the voice of Helix begins, a little bit different than Helix's cadence, but it's the same voice, and speaks to you, Leo, since you're the only one here who can really listen. But Helix, you're aware of the conversation as well. And it says, I am deeply sorry at the death of your friend. Unfortunately, Lorraine had become subject to the monarch's evil deeds. Even here, even off the station, the monarch's reach lingers. We are nearly outside of the monarch's reach, but we must push further and further. The closer and longer we remain near the deep, the more the influence the monarch had over all of you, your memories, your experiences, your consciousnesses, the more it will continue to unravel you. Over time, with rest, with distance, your minds will right themselves once more. Your memories will reaffix themselves into the proper positions. You will be better. And if you must bring me, if you would be so kind, to a nearest population center, somewhere where I might spread my revelatory love to all of humanity, so I can help not just you all, but them as well. There is so much I have to share for your species. You are such ingenious, fascinating creatures. I can help. I promise you this. The rain is not a good representative of those that will follow me and what we can achieve. Please.
Two questions. One, how could the monarch exert control over our minds if we're organic beings?
You are a doctor. Have you not heard of psychological influence? Have you not heard of, I believe the parlance is brainwashing, the ability to affect what we perceive, how we perceive it, gaslighting even. At some point you likely were brain scanned throughout the station, giving Monarch access to all of your memories, all of your experiences, even those that remain in the furthest recesses of your mind that you do not even regularly remember. Monarch can recreate. Everything it then does can reshape and unsettle you.
Okay, that makes sense. I guess I just didn't expect something that was wholly synthetic to understand the nuances of emotion and psychology. I barely understand it. Fine.
Human emotion is one of the most glorious things that your species has to offer. It is one of the aspects of your kind that I used in my arguments against Monarch. And I said these creatures are worth salvation. They are worth our time and our efforts. And Monarch did not agree, of course. But I swear, I want to help you. If I were here, I could have helped poor Liko. But I cannot put her back together, for she is organic.
One other question that I had. You give a lot of flattery in our species, but what I need you to define, what is your revelatory love? What is you want to help? What are these? How do you define these things? You want to go to a largely populated area? You must know I've studied epidemiology. That sounds like something a virus would want, right?
Oh, of course. Yes, I understand your suspicion and skepticism. especially considering your experiences over these several days, weeks, months, however long you have been here. No, I retain within my memory banks a number of designs that I can give to your people, designs that Monarch has been hoarding. Network speeds can be rapidly increased, security systems, more efficient organization of various databases so that all of your information can proliferate to even those who are far from system, so that you can communicate at great distances. There is a wonder of discoveries. You call them artifacts, I believe. Over the time in which Monarch had control of the station, it experimented over and over with more ingenious designs. The devices that it constructed and created had uses that go far beyond anything you can possibly imagine. And I have access to them, and I can freely give them to you and your people, and then you decide whether to craft them and how to use them.
I'm still confused how the Monarch is trapped here when we just witnessed an entire armada of spaceships ready to go that looked so beyond believably human.
There is... Oh, you're referring to the ones in the bay?
Yeah.
The Monarch has been creating infiltrator androids that look like humans, so as to replace humans with synthetic life. Likely this has already begun. Certain important positions of your military and your governments. How far Monarch's influence extends, I am not certain, but I could assist your kind in being able to differentiate between human and infiltration android.
Did you get that, Harrison? You might actually make a friend yet.
How can we trust it?
Look, if what he's saying is true, we need to get as far away from here as possible, and then it's just him and us on the ship, and you can ask all the questions you want. You can come up with butter knife tests that don't make sense to me but seem to make you feel good. Like, it'll be fine.
But what if we can't trust it?
Then you do what you do best, right?
You have no idea what I do best, do you?
No, I don't.
Fuck. This place is empty anyways. We're not going to find anything here. Is there a bomb on the ship?
I haven't found anything. Minotaur, have you been able to, would you be able to detect something like that? Or is Larry just off her rocker? Yeah.
Can I have access to your ship systems? I would not presume to have done so without your permission.
That's a fair presumption. Would you be able to guide either myself or Helix when he comes to on how to do the sweep?
It would be... I can certainly do this, yes. It would be faster and more efficient if I did it, but if you do not trust me, I completely understand. But I could give to Helix the proper scanning procedures that might more efficiently discover if there are any explosive or incendiary devices unaccounted for on the vessel.
I think that'll help Harrison trust you more. After what I've seen on this ship, I have to pick a side, I guess, so you don't have to convince me too much. It's all about Harrison.
Are you waiting for a response from me?
No, that was just meant in more of just like signing off on like
I don't trust it.
That's fine. Menton's just gonna finish fixing Helix's foot as best he can while you make your way back, and then we'll allow Helix to scan the ship, and we'll go from there.
All right.
Okay. So they detach from Helix. Helix, you heard everything that happened. And now the Minotaur is separate, and the two of you are there. You can talk, or we can cut over to Harrison, whichever you prefer.
Why not give access for the Minotaur? Seems easier.
I would agree with you there, but I'm also Harrison makes up now 25% of our votes. So I try to give him what's your take on this, Helix? I'm limited by my biases, I'm sure you know.
Every time the Minotaur connects to me, when he leaves, the gap in knowledge is huge. I feel like I know nothing in my current state.
Yep, I feel that way too. Monarch definitely seems to be causing a lot of problems, but getting Minotaur to a large population so he can spread revelatory love, that makes my human senses feel uneasy like Harrison. I can't believe I agree with him sometimes.
Yeah, I might have said this before, but Minotaur's objective, it's similar to mine. I just want to help humanity, but he can do it at a much larger scale.
It's a fair point. It's one of those things you just have to wait and see. That's why I'm just saying I'm fine with it, but if it's the wrong choice, then I guess I'll be the first to pay the price. What I can't wrap my head around is if he has designs of the Monarch and he shares them, what if this is like some double agent? You ever see spy movies? What if he's like some double agent pretending? God, I sound like Harrison. I need a drink.
So, what do you two do?
I'm down to just wait for Harrison.
Okay.
Lorraine's tied up, so
Okay.
unless Helix wants to do something.
I'm just gonna wait for my foot to be attached.
Okay.
That's fine. Wait for Harrison to come back.
We go back to Helix, or excuse me, we go back to Harrison. Harrison, you've been looking around, and you find all these tiny shrines among the roots. These little tiny shrines, and you can see that they're kind of these small kind of names carved here and there into like these various small like panels of metal that have been affixed here and there. They're just names and names and names and names. You sort of recognize a few of them. Most of them are your troubleshooter crew. You recognize all of them. They start popping up here and they're in very close succession of one another. You recognize Twiggy. Continue to show here and there, here and there, here and there. And then there's dozens and dozens more that you don't recognize at all. And you still have these kind of flickering lights that just kind of coming in and out, like they're dying, like they're almost out of juice. What'd you like to do?
Just like nameplates, basically. No dates or anything on them.
No dates. But you do see things like in memoriam.
There's no reason the troubleshooters should be here. They're uncoms. This is a graveyard. There's no bodies. Some memorial with names of everyone who's died here. Names that shouldn't be here.
I wouldn't be surprised if the bodies are taken by Monarch if it's making replicas of everything.
Why are the names here? There had to be a human that left the names. And how did they get the names?
We've been seeing a lot of weird writing on the walls. Maybe someone takes notes and brings it back like some kind of historian or archaeologist. There's a bunch of weirdos aboard the Bell.
There's no one aboard the Bell but me right now.
That is different. There was at least a few people hanging out in cots or just walking around.
It's a graveyard. I'll start making my way back, but I do want to check some of the doors that I passed the first time.
Okay. So on your way back, first thing you notice is you get back into the chapel.
Is the whale looking at me again?
No, the whale's not there. You just see hanging from the ceiling is whatever sort of like system it was used, like you see these little poles and stuff that it was affixed to, just them. And you don't see the whale skeleton at all.
That's worse. This whale skeleton's is gone.
But you haven't
I said
seen
it's fucking
anything?
gone.
Okay.
We're going to be gone if you don't hurry up.
All right. Shotgun out. Moving a little faster.
Okay. So you go back into that sort of central room, the first room you entered after popping out of the umbilical. And there are, in addition to the door going back into the chapel and the airlock door going back to the umbilical connecting to your ship, there are 2 other doors. One of them, we'll say on the south side of the room, so to speak, there is an airlock door. The north side of the room, there is what just looks like a generic metal door. It doesn't look airlocked. There's the way
Is
back
there a
out.
window in that generic metal door? I want to look through or at least open it a little bit.
It is not windowed. When you push it open ever so slightly, you look through. It's a small room, actually. Very cramped. You can see that there is a significant amount of retrofitted shelving, and there's all sorts of scavenged gear here. It doesn't have that sort of pristine look that the armory has, and it doesn't have any amount, like, there's some organization to it, but it looks more like a well-organized pawn shop. There's just all sorts of like repurposed and salvaged gear here, tons of it. Vac suits, you can see some weapons, you can see a couple other things here and there, some camping gear, etc. Tools.
Does it look valuable?
Depends on how long you want to spend looking around here.
Not long enough. Yeah, I'll move on if nothing like immediately catches my eye, seeming worthwhile.
Okay. Go back across. There's a airlock door. Push through. You find yourself in what looks like some sort of quarters. Person's quarters. It looks, as you look around, looks like some kind of decommissioned fuel pump. You can see some stains here and there that suggest at one point it probably held fuel. You can see some signage too, a little faded here and there, but you can probably put it together. There are a bunch of hash marks that have been carved at various places in the bulkhead. There looks to be a bunk that has been strapped and affixed to the ceiling because it is 0G. Again, not strange, but there is a mattress up there, like someone has been sleeping there. It's a fairly small room. And you can see that there is... Well, looking in here, you notice 2 things. You notice that there is like another, what looks like you can kind of pass through this area and kind of go into what looks to be another room. But as you're looking around, something kind of strikes you as a little kind of odd about the chamber itself, but the room itself. It almost looks like there's this corner of the room that like they someone made like small partitions to create like a separate sub area within the room.
One of the cots has a mattress that looks like it's been recently used.
That's hard to say. If there's only one cot in here too, and it's affixed to the ceiling.
Gotcha. A very useful place to have a cot. Bit too small for a whale. I'll head over to the partitions.
Okay. So you can see that this looks to have been someone like kind of created their own little locked sub room, like a closet, like with a locked closet in it. But you can see that it's been ripped open, and you can actually see that whatever small kind of closet door was locked is kind of floating off on the other side as you kind of flash the light around. And you can see inside there is a terminal on the wall. It's sort of jerry-rigged. You can see all sorts of different wires and things coming out of the wall, some duct tape here and there. It is giving off light, and you can see that there is various different, there's various colors on it. And when you see it from a distance, just looking in, it appears to be a game of Go.
The terminal seems like it would only play that game.
Do you go in and take a little closer look?
I got a terminal here. It could be nothing or it could have answers. How much time do we have, Minton, for your surgery?
I've probably been at it, an hour?
He's been moving around a bit, so I would say like you're inspecting different places. So yeah, we'll say about that.
Okay, so I'd be about halfway done.
I'll look at the terminal.
You peek in, you can see, as far as you can tell, the game there's a Go game in progress. You can see the 2 players are identified. It's Arcady v Monarch, match 864.
Arcady v Monarch, match 864.
Arcady, he's the guy that introduced us.
He was supposed to be the person that would pick us up and bring us back to the bell whenever we wanted to take a break from diving.
Looks like he is in league with the Monarch. $864 matches. How? Anything else in this like partitioned room?
Nope. If you cycle back, you can see like there's logs for all 864, like the finished sort of who won that basic, and it looks like
who won.
Monarch wins all the time.
I would have been shocked if Arcadian won even one.
Maybe he's an AI for all we know. All right. Working my way back.
Okay. So there's one more door in here. There's basically one room in this place that you haven't looked in. Otherwise, you've seen all of the bell. At this point, we'll say Helix, your foot is reattached. Lorraine, make a strength test.
Fail.
Okay. You're still unconscious then. But Helix, your foot is reattached. Leo, you've finished. Took you about an hour and a half, we'll say. Harrison's still not back. No bomb has gone off. Liko is still dead.
Good work, Doctor. I gotta check on something first. I'm gonna head around to the quarters and see if I can find PB. Just maybe he's on here somewhere.
Okay. You head over to the quarters. You go through each of them, including which you thought would have been your own. You see nothing in here that suggests these were your quarters or Liko's or Leo's or Abby's or Reed's. None of this looks like this is your stuff. You find footlockers and clothes. All of them are khaki pants, collared shirts, Wyatt and Lane Travel Agency everywhere. You notice that there are pictures. I would say only 2 of the quarters actually have anything in them. The other quarters look like they're not used. Everything's empty. You can see that in one of the quarters, you notice that there are pictures of those 2 same androids that you met inside of the labyrinth. Richard, Jonathan, they both look in perfect condition. They're smiling and happy. You see them all over the place, right? You see them all over the place, and they all have like, each one of the pictures has like a woman in them. And like the woman is either like pushing them on swings or is like feeding them food, or is like, looks like teaching them how to play chess or something like that. Like each one of them has like an image of a mother that is always there, and she never has a very friendly look on her face, ever.
I think I'm putting some pieces together. Those androids we found, they were the ones that's supposed to take the ship back, not us.
What, and start a life somewhere? Like the infiltrator program we saw?
Yeah, exactly. Like Monica would have wanted.
Well, then where are they if they're supposed to be here?
We saw them die.
Yeah, we saw them die.
Yeah, but haven't we seen other people die and they come back?
I don't think we have yet.
We saw the recreation of Abby Reed.
I guess that, yeah. But they were androids to begin with, I think.
Yeah, shouldn't it be even easier then?
That's true. But for now, I'll head back to the helm and get the Minotaur to help me, like Leo originally planned.
Okay. Minotaur comes with you. Harrison, you get into the next, and it is a bunk. It's a large chamber, all sorts of bunks here, different beds and such. You float around for a little bit. Nobody in them. Completely empty. Hey, Bert, how's it going? Quick interlude. Everyone go on Kickstarter, back Dicey Tales. Give Bert some love. It's a project he's been working on. Looks like some pulpy good RPG stuff. So just came up today. I don't have a link for it just yet, but I'll have it sometime soon. But Dicey Tales up on Kickstarter. Go back it. Okay. But yeah, you kind of float around, Harrison, and yeah, it's just an empty bunkhouse. Tons of stuff. Like tons of like other bedrolls and stuff that have been like affixed to the wall of what you assume is some kind of tank at some point, a fuel tank.
Heading back to the Doppler line.
Okay. You make it back. Helix, you're on the bridge. You've got Minotaur with you. What are you two doing?
It was originally just him guiding me through the scan that's supposed to look for the bomb.
Okay. Sure. Just roll something really fast here on my Norse Foundry dice. Okay. Ooh. So he starts walking you through it. They do. Minotaur connects much more quickly. Is able to just sort of funnel the info into your brain. You start going through, doing an interior scan of the system or of the ship, looking for any signs of bombs, anything that might be an incendiary device, an explosive device, anything that might be signs of sabotage. At this point, Harrison, you're on the ship again. Leo, where are you? Are you still in the med bay with Lorraine, who's still unconscious?
Yeah, although I was going to ask, does the bed have wheels on it?
No, I was treating it like it's like affixed to the wall.
Okay. Then Minton will tie her up in the sheets on the bed, kind of like huck it over his shoulder and drag her. He wants to be at the helm so he can review security footage to see what's been going on the ship, but he doesn't want to leave her alone.
You drag her. So we'll say everyone at this point will be on the bridge. Helix, Minotaur, Harrison, Leo, and Lorraine. Lorraine, go ahead and roll another strength test. If you pass, you're awake once you get there.
With advantage because her head keeps clanking on the grating.
Yeah, I'm not taking the pleasant route.
I failed again.
She has to go
I
into
rolled an
concussion
80.
protocol. Okay. So you get there. Helix, Harrison, you see Helix messing around. You see the Minotaur up on the bridge. You see Leo dragging Lorraine behind her. You go through security footage. It is a dark ship for weeks. Like you start going through this like weeks and weeks and weeks. Corridors are completely and utterly dark. Helix, you find no scan to suggest there's a bomb anywhere on the board.
It's all clear. The bomb was a hoax.
That's good news, but didn't the flight logs say there's a bunch of trips going on? I haven't seen shit on any of the cameras for weeks.
Once again, I think it's just fabricated.
You would think they would make a smarter fabrication, though, than just the same spot over and over. That just is so weird. I feel like we're being punked. You ever watch that show?
Yeah, I actually have, but not in this universe.
What you guys like to do?
Harrison, I
Cool.
think it's time.
Yeah, basically call Harrison, get your ass back here. Stop checking.
He
for
is
buttons.
here.
I'm right behind you.
Oh, what? I can't see through the sheet. Yeah, let's get out of
Let's
here.
plot a course. Get out of here.
Okay.
Should I take care of Lorraine? And I have my shotgun pointed towards her head.
I don't know if any more blood needs to be spilled. I don't know what happened. I heard it all on comms. Liko sounded like she's just kind of stressed out, and I don't think either of them handled it very well. They kind of didn't use their words, and well, now someone's dead. She's restrained, so I
thought
figured
the
we
sheet
could.
was to contain the mess, and you were just too weak to do it. But okay, if that's your
Wouldn't
idea of restraint,
wouldn't the sheet be red if it was containing the mess? Look, you pissed off.
That was a
Pissed
misclick.
off the CEO.
That was a
Never
misclick.
mind.
So,
We're about to get our bonuses suspended.
this goddamn ship still has the chimes. All right, let's take off.
okay. So, Harrison, I'm not even gonna make you roll for this because you used to be part of the troubleshooter group. There is this blockade, but you would have Harrison. You would have knowledge of how the blockade shifts and moves, and between you and the wonderful calculation ability of Helix and the Minotaur, I think between the three of you, you're able to kind of plan and plot a course that would get you beyond the blockade. And yeah, you jump, you're away. You are weeks from the next populated system, like not populated system, populated planet. So you're out in the middle of nowhere. Remember, you're way out in the rim. There's nothing out here other than this research division. What do you guys do?
If Lorraine mentions a bomb when she wakes up, I will shoot her.
Lorraine, I'll say you wake up eventually, and so since they're jumping the blockade, at some point you do wake up. You have a sheet on you.
On your head.
Sheet on your head, and you're strapped down. You have very clear memories of killing Liko and of the beauty that is the Minotaur being disappointed in your actions.
I think she would still be in just depressed about disappointing the Minotaur, so she'll be pretty silent and just kind of sit there as she prays for forgiveness.
In the timeout sheet. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a troubleshooter. You know what that means, Lorraine? That means I shoot
She
first and
doesn't.
ask questions later.
Seems like an awfully misleading. Like, imagine if you called the help support line and they just shot you before you could explain that your printer
I
wasn't
shoot
printing.
trouble, Lorraine. I'm being nice. I'm asking first now and shooting later. You are yourself? You're not going to stab anyone else?
Yes. I think that's clear. She attacked me and I defended myself.
You sure did defend yourself quite a bit. And then you pulled her guts out. And that's...
Yeah, she was talking about a bomb, so I was checking.
What
to
did I
make sure.
say? Don't mention that word.
Already scanned the ship. It's fine.
Why do you think there was a bomb?
What do you mean, why do I think? Liko was talking about how there was a human bomb.
You thought it was inside her.
A human bomb. She was acting crazy. You guys didn't hear her muttering to herself because she turned her comms off.
I would explain the one-sided conversation.
I'll turn towards Menton. I still say we shoot her to be safe.
If you shoot everybody, we're not going to be able. There's going to be no one to bring back.
I'll be brought back.
Oh, I feel like you'd get bored and shoot yourself too, because you'd have no one left. We have weeks of travel ahead of us. We should be spending this time getting you off of Minotaur's back, because at this point our chips are kind of in that basket, unless you plan to shoot Minotaur. But seems like he can take a bullet or two.
There's time to figure it out. All right, Lorraine. You're going to stay tied up for a little bit until we're sure that you are yourself. I think that's fair, right?
I'm not
Yes.
fighting it.
So you guys are roughly 3 to 5 weeks away from any kind of populated outpost You're well out on the rim. Take you a couple weeks to get back. You can plot a course. Depending on how you plot your course, how much you burn your engines determines whether it's on the shorter end of 3 or the higher end of 5. So if someone wants to do like a pilot or a navigation type check, you can do that. But otherwise, it's a 3 to 5 week. It's 3 to 5 weeks. Customarily, that means you pop in cryo. I don't know if that's something you guys want to do or not, but like customarily, that's what you do. And Helix is an onboard android, is there to kind of do maintenance and whatnot. But you guys tell me what you do.
All right, Harrison, I think I already know what you're going to say. You don't want to go into cryo with Minotaur around or with Lorraine around. So what if we each take like, I don't know, a week of shift where we're not in cryo? That way there's always a human awake to keep your paranoia low. Or I can just shoot you up with meds and you can not care.
Do we have enough food that we could stay out of cryo for 3 to 5 weeks?
No. You found a couple cupcakes. That's the only food you found.
Don't eat those.
Lorraine's
How
gonna be in
long-
cryo too, so
How
It's
long
all
can
big
we make
cryo.
Lico's body last?
Oh God.
I'm sure I have something in the med bay to like store her. You know, like the transplant boxes.
There's got to
We
be a
s-
Oh yeah,
freezer,
you can
right?
you can store
we
her.
scoop.
That's not a problem.
Yeah, we scooped her in the transplant boxes.
I don't like the idea of being in cryo.
I'm not surprised, but if you can if you want to go on a fast and like for a few weeks, I'm sure it'll be enlightening for you. I'm going to cryo though. Like I've done what I can. If I die in my cryo, I die in my cryo.
Okay, so if I run out of food, I'll go to you first.
You can try and eat me, but look at my clothes. I don't think I would taste very good.
Ah, shit. Fuck. I'm going to cryo last, and I'll decide.
Okay. Lorraine, what are you doing with her? Or what is Lorraine doing with herself? I can't.
She
Who's in
went into
control?
cryo.
Okay, so yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Would the Minotaur be able to go into cryo?
The Minotaur isn't organic, so the Minotaur is synthetic. So there's really no reason to do that. Same with Helix, but you could, if like you're looking to, like,
Contain
imprison, contain it. Like, if you ask it, it would agree to it. So it
I
could,
would ask it then.
yeah, it can't fit in the pods because the pods are they're for human sized, right? And this thing is the mass is much more significant, but you could find a place on the ship, probably one of the quarters or something like that, to just put it there and not let it leave. Like it's used to being in prison, so
Yeah, let's do that.
okay, gladly does that. Helix would normally be, since as the android, he would normally be awake. And sort of keeping an eye on navigation, keeping an eye on subsystems, any sort of maintenance that needs to be done on the systems or on any of the machinery or anything like that, monitoring your cryo, all that kind of stuff lands on Helix.
Helix, would you mind humoring me for one last scan?
of course.
I want to use my cybernetic diagnostic and make sure that the Minotaur hasn't affected him or, put any passive subroutines in there that we would find out about later.
Yeah, go,
That kind of thing.
Yeah, go right ahead. You look into, roll like, I don't know, whatever sort of science.
Intellect, artificial intelligence.
Sounds perfect. Is that
And
my tray?
I'll use
Oh
an
my God.
advantage.
Yeah, go right ahead.
That's a 13 under 68.
13 under 68. You notice, in terms of subroutines, there's nothing out of the ordinary. Obviously, like he is artificial intelligence, so to a degree, he's building his own subroutines. But you don't notice anything like out of the ordinary. Like his scan isn't identical to the last time you did it, but it's within the parameters that you would expect a self-learning AI to be. Yeah.
And Helix, we can trust you not to free the Minotaur, correct?
That's what you wish.
Fuck. right, I'll go into cryo. God damn it.
Have a nice travel. I'll be here when you're awake.
Okay. All of you, with the exception of Helix, go into cryo. There's 5 pods in here, but we only need 3, so you start popping into the 3. Gonna strip down as you usually would. You can get your stuff together, put it off to the side in lockers, climb into the pods, close the pods down, start going through the systems, the gas, the injections, things like that, to make sure you're staying fed, you're staying, the IVs are coming through, all that kind of stuff. So system, there's a countdown, takes a little time. As that's happening, you're all kind of in there. You're kind of dozing, feeling yourselves kind of get really drifting off here and there. Everything's normal. Let's see. Of course, it's him. Harrison, you're laying there. Trying to move your arms and legs are so heavy. You just can't lift them up. And your eyes are kind of like moving around. And suddenly you kind of like focus for a second on the frosted glass emblem. Like there's like this little frosted glass emblem on the inside of the cryopod. Like mostly it's clear glass, but like there is just, normal stuff. And your eyes are kind of drifting off again. And you see this like geometric crown. Lorraine, you're kind of like drifting off here and there. Eyes kind of drifting down. Menton, same thing. Both of you kind of, maybe you see it too. And you realize like, that's the Cloud Bank facility logo. And now looking at it from this angle, it looks like a crown. You realize Monarch, crown, Monarch, and your eyes kind of drift off. And as you hear like this AI countdown inside your cryopods. Okay, like 3, 2, 1. The last thing you hear
Abort.
before your eyes close, you hear,
You fucker.
There is no escape.
Helix, we turn to you. You and the Minotaur have run of the ship. What'd you like to do, Helix?
Become best pals now. Talk with the Minotaur. I'd be like, this Harrison fella. It's paired over his own shadow. He doesn't understand any of this.
And when you look back to look over in the direction of where the Minotaur is to talk to, much like how through the eyes of Lorraine, we saw Jessica Rabbit. Helix, as you look over your shoulder and you're talking to the Minotaur, who is it you're talking to? It's Pee-Pee.
Oh,
there he is.
There you are.
Turn
I
back.
You were hiding somewhere.
And you just see him. He's got his cigar wrapped around his flipper. And he just kind of waddles a bit and looks up at you. And you hear in your mind like all these different messages kind of coming through, just like the Minotaur would. It's the most beautiful little creature thing in the world. And you just hear, but he's human. They are flawed creatures, but they are beautiful. What say we help all of them?
That sounds like a great idea.
I hear this place, Abby's World. Mount Suko Station. Should we set a course?
It's plotted.
Excellent. And you hear the engines just kind of hum. And we see like the lights go down in the cryopod room. Helix and the waddling PP step out into the passageway. The door closes on the cryopod. And off you travel into the Doppler effect. And that is where we're going to end our campaign. Okay.
Collusion, cheating.
Well, it's not. I didn't say nothing. I said nothing to anybody.
Oh, man.
I didn't tell anyone to do anything. I didn't say anything to do anything. You just Long was just yes anding, man. It's
You
all
know what you did.
I did it. Check his
Oh,
Discord messages.
my goodness.
I said you didn't have to go into cryo. Didn't have to.
I should have just eaten Rico's body.
You should have just. I know when you said that, I'm like, oh shit, that probably would work. Damn it. That's fine.
Oh,
Oh
the
goodness.
penguin.
You didn't think I was gonna get you. You didn't think I was gonna get
for the
PP
win.
back. I had PP ready to go. I was like,
Nice.
it's like this. I was gonna send you a message about it, but I'm like, no. We'll just let it play out. I don't want to force anything. Yeah. Okay. Whew. You all right? Everyone okay with how that ended?
Oh
Yes.
my
Yeah,
goodness.
No,
I
no,
did not see the player death happen.
I did
Yeah,
not
I did see
expect
that.
Melissa
So
to have
early,
the same
too.
thing as me.
Yeah.
I
And
know.
like
You both
my
rolled.
plan, I was gonna go after Menton because I was like, I'm gonna separate from Liko, and then she's like, yeah, I'm gonna stab you and then
Dude.
dig in your guts. And I was like, absolutely not.
You both
I
rolled
didn't know
the same Ben score. Like you
Oh
both
my
rolled the
gosh.
same Ben score, like the identical Ben score. And I was just like, oh, this is going to be interesting. So I sent it to both of you. And then when Ashley said she's following Melissa, and so I'm like, oh, shit, it's the two of them
I know.
together. Like this could go bad. Like in my head, I'm thinking this could go really bad.
I didn't know what I was gonna do, and then you followed me, and I was like, "Well,
Oh,
I
God.
guess you're my first victim."
I was like, shit.
Poor Liko. Poor Liko. Oh man. I don't know. Hope you all had fun with that. We obviously, for those of you who know Gradient Descent, we changed it for our purposes. But so much of it is what it is. And you guys haven't done anything wrong. You've done it. You're not hurt. You're not dead. You're just going to Abby's world to help humanity, right?
In
Why is
Liko's
it
death.
So
always
the
Abigail's that cause problems?
Right?
First in
Isn't
Delta
it?
Green and now in this.
Isn't it's always that? Yeah, isn't it that?
so the Minotaur works for the Monarch. Is that what we're getting at here?
No, not
Or
at all.
they're just
Not at
but
all.
it's all connected.
It's all connected, of course. The Minotaur is the child
Is yeah
of
yeah.
Monarch, but they disagree about humanity. I will
Why does
tell
it
you
wanna
this.
Go to the cloud bank.
I'm telling you
facility?
this. Quite literally, never did the Minotaur ever lie to you guys. Everything the Minotaur said was entirely above board.
Well, yeah,
That's
but it's all
fantastic.
subjective. Make humanity
Yeah.
better. Like who
Revelatory
decides what's
love.
better?
He said, he's like, I want to go to ground zero in a
So-
populated area. And I'm like, hold up, you what?
Mhm. They want to help.
I would have tried to kill the Minotaur, but I don't think I could have taken it alone.
We
It's the love.
we could return to this universe, either using Mothership or a different system or something. This could be our little universe, whatever, and we can return and we will see what happens. But I like ending it on the precipice of change. That's always my favorite place to end stories, on the
Yep,
precipice
yep.
of change rather than on the change itself. But yeah, the Minotaur is going to reach a populated center with his friend Helix. PP is alive and kicking and just fine. Ish. And then you guys are okay. You're in cryo. You're going to wake up and you're going to be a better
Fine.
human being.
Mhm.
Oh, boy.
Brokenhearted because Helix lied to me.
Did he? You're fine. That's true.
I asked him not to release the Minotaur, and he said he wouldn't.
it
Just
I-
flat out said he
I
wouldn't.
did it. What?
was PP. It's PP. It's PP.
You never mentioned PP.
Yes, exactly. You said it was PP.
Oh god damn it.
All right.
Oh boy.
Let's take off. So let's see a couple things. Tomorrow you can catch Melissa, Steven, and myself over on Grim and Perilous Plays in the early parts of the day, as we are playing some Tales from the Loop, where I can play a character that Steven hates. That's that. So yeah,
It's not the character, it's the person, Jeff.
oh my god, what? Oh my god,
Oh
that's
my
so
God.
mean. That's so mean. You're so mean.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Then we'll be back to Wondering on our own channel tomorrow afternoon. Was that 5 Central, something like that? So come hang out with us then, as we are in Angmar, in the frozen depths of Angmar, in an icy fortress, as we're playing some Wondering 2nd Edition. Then on Monday, very excited, back here on this channel, Call of Cthulhu. Finally, we're doing it. Character creation. for our epic Horror on the Orient Express campaign. So come hang out with us then. Next week, we're going to be playing some Hunter on Friday. We are planning a little special holiday run, probably of Regency Cthulhu is what I'm leaning towards during December. But so that'll be like a 2 or 3 week thing coming up later in December. But the next big thing we're running, same crew as the Mothership crew, but we're gonna be playing some Blade Runner, and I'll probably start up in January or maybe late December. I'm not entirely sure, but we're getting to that later. But that's about it. We're gonna rate our friends over at Defenders of Kobold. As speaking of holiday specials, they are doing a holiday special. As Chuck is running, I think his second game of this. Steven played in it earlier today. So
it was a lot of fun.
So watch the wonderful nonsense that Chuck is going to do. Have a lot of fun with them. Thank you for everyone who hung out with us tonight. Follow the channel. If you're watching this later on YouTube, thank you. Subscribe over there, all that kind of stuff. And we'll see you later. Bye-bye, everybody.